Welcome, everybody, to the CrossFire podcast. Thank you so much. We're a couple minutes late here on this Friday night, but I got to be honest with you. What a great show we have for you. We've got a great panel assembled for you guys. We've got some of our guests coming in a little bit later. And I want to just take a couple minutes here while we kind of let everybody, please do tweet it out, guys. Share this stream with everybody. Please, if you're stopping by, we've been doing this for so many years on the channel. Please do hit that subscribe button and join the Mooch. We have all of our games launching for 2020 starting in March, and I am doing reviews on all of them. So it will be CrossFire reviews, and yes, MNC will be back in March as well. Guys, just want to say this much. I can't thank every single one of you guys that are part of the Mooch Maniac crew. All you guys that join the channel, right above the description, there's that beautiful, beautiful looking join button. And all of the emotes done by the great Sean LeBray. Made some great Mooch emotes. They are fantastic. A quick shout out to the Mooch Maniacs themselves. Longshot 316, Sir X-Man, Masshole 1977, JB Kash, Rumple Foreskin, now known as Hollow Point 5555 with the bar over at 7, Midway Monster, JudaZuk, Shinseiya, Mass Murders, Major Mooch Maniacs, Wilmy Hood, thank you Wilmy for that, and VIP Mooch Maniacs, the stars of the channel themselves, Biggie2316 and Doggy Dog 420. Guys, I can't say thank you enough to those guys right there for being an active part of this channel. You guys are all fantastic. Tweet it out. Let them know we're here. Hit the like button, guys. Let's get this show started. And you know what? We've got so much to discuss. We've got so much to discuss. I'm trying to figure out just where. Shout out to Doggy Dog 420 with the great super chat. He says the super chat's working. Like, share, and subscribe. Doggy Dog, thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. Let me start with the one and only here. Xbot448. Xbot, how the hell are you doing tonight?
What's going on, people? Welcome to the show that has so many teeth. If it were for sale, it'd be others, man. What's going on, Mooch?
Not much, buddy. There's so much. Listen, you know what's great? Listen, the first 2 months of 2020 was what? Speculation, wondering what's happened. Nobody knows. Now we're going to get into the games. We're going to get into more of the concrete info coming in on these consoles, right?
Ever since February 1st, man, I have been looking towards March, and it feels like, even though February, basically the shortest month, being leap year this year, so we day and everything, but dude, February has been a grind for me because I want to play Ori 2. I want to play Doom Eternal. I want to get in on Bleeding Edge. Let's go, people.
Yes, absolutely, buddy. I couldn't agree with you more. And then I've got the man who's got the ear to the ground for you folks, okay? He's doing this for a living, not for me. He's doing it for you. It's Gaming Forte. Forte, welcome back to the show, buddy. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, man. It's been a very entertaining and interesting week, man. So much news, so much speculation now is complete. The speculation is over when it comes to at least one of the platforms. And I am super excited just to dive into these topics and kind of, dismiss a lot of the stuff that's been happening throughout the week. But man, I'm happy to be here with you as always over the weekend.
I appreciate that, Forte. Honestly, the show's not the same without you. I appreciate you being here. And then I've got a few special guests, but only one very special guest that's actually in the room right now with us. It's Saltiest Gaming. Salty, fantastic show yesterday. You guys are fantastic. Salt, welcome to the show. How you doing tonight?
Hey, I hope you guys brought the fire extinguishers because I brought the gasoline. Let's go.
I love it, buddy. I absolutely love it.
Baby.
Thank you, Salt. Thank you. And let me tell you, tonight's going to be a little bit of Crossfire. And, I want to take a couple seconds here. I was just having a great conversation with somebody on Twitter, and I know he's listening right now. And he says, doom and gloom. There's no doom and gloom. It's a talk show, folks. Doom and gloom. We've got to talk. Doom and gloom. How can we just sit here? I can't paint rainbows. I can't even paint. Okay, we got to talk. So here's the thing. I kind of want to get into this. It's late breaking news. It was just announced. Now, tell me. Please, guys, tell me on the panel, too. I mentioned it in the pre-show. I'm seeing here that GDC has been officially canceled per IGN. Am I hearing this correct? This just broke about 5 minutes ago.
They're afraid of Xbox, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Breaking news, man. You got to love it. Friday, right before Crossfire, and we have a fresh topic to talk about, man. Down to it. It takes one company to put their foot out there and say, you know what, we're not going to risk it. And then the other companies are looking, they're like, you know what, that's the right way. Going to risk it either. And you saw just start kind of pulling out of different conferences and GDC and whatnot, and then by the time it's all like said and done, you got Microsoft who said they'll the show to the show, and all these other companies. I mean, what else? The conference, nobody was going to be there, man.
Actually, you made some great points on Xbox. The one thing I want to say, you might want to reset your mic because you're going in and out, and I don't want to lose you on this show. No. And while you're doing that, no, Xbox, take your time to do that. I'm going to introduce Nick Undead, who's back with us from the Lord's podcasting channel himself. Nick, I'm not sure if you can hear us yet. He's trying to get his mic set up. But Nick, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm slowly dying of a virus that feels like the coronavirus, but isn't the coronavirus.
It's probably the Jack Daniels virus you got. Listen, that's something that's catchy over here in New York. Listen, I welcome to the show, buddy. Great to have you. Nick, we were just talking about it. We just heard that GDC has been canceled. I don't think this is a shock to anybody. But all the companies are pulling out. There's no sense in having the venue and the money. Even though a lot of money's already been spent on it, a lot more could be lost. Is this a big loss for us gamers, not having GDC this year?
It's not necessarily a lot. If you're a casual games enthusiast, GDC is not really anything that you might pay attention to. GDC is more of a tech-focused thing. Like, usually we get to hear a little bit more about the technology that goes into the consoles. That's usually the main draw away from, and we get some cool developer interviews talking about how the games work and whatnot. But as a whole, like, there wasn't going to be any game announcements or anything, so we didn't really lose anything in that terms of things. It just kind of sucks because as a bit of a nerd when it comes to the development side of things.
I'm a techie, man. I want to know what's coming in terms of technology. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like I was kind of interested to see, like, they were going to talk some of the SSDs and like how that's going to work in retrospect to like PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. That was something I was kind of interested in, is how is SSD going to change console gaming? But now it's up in the air of how we're going to find out that information. So we'll just have to wait and see, unfortunately.
Yeah, myself personally, I'm kind of with you on the latter part of your comment there. And Salt, I think you're with me on this. I mean, I'm all for all these different gatherings we've got. You know, PAX East, I'll tell you something. I want to say bravo to all the men and women out there that made it out there with all that fear that was in the press. That place, I'm seeing pictures from people. It's packed. PAX East is packed. Yeah. So good for them. Let people go out there. Let them see what's. There's a lot of companies that did show up, but it's all. Do you think GDC, is that a big loss for us or not really?
Well, I got to get something straight. All right. The Xbox fanboys were saying that Sony was broke.
Right.
And that they were lying.
That's right.
And that they were scared of the Xbox Series X. So is GDC scared of the Xbox Series X, or are they broke, or which one is?
No, well, I already said they're scared of the Xbox, man. That's why they closed it all
clearly,
down.
Right, Salt?
Yeah, clearly. And Microsoft's not even going, so they're scared of the Xbox, man. Everybody's scared of the Xbox.
It's a frightening division.
It's a horror film, you know.
I think it's funny. This has gotten to a point, and it depends on where you're reading or where you're kind of doing your homework, but this is something that I think, it may be globally expanding the way we're seeing it go out, but ultimately here in the States, it's being contained to a certain degree. I think the concern here is so many companies would be flying in and out of the country. I'm wondering how much is actually the facility saying maybe we want to close down. I don't know.
Yeah. On a serious note, though, this is the worst. Like, I showed a graph, right, of all the recent outbreaks, and it's not even close when it comes to this virus, right? You talked about, I think SARS was on the list and some other things, right?
Yeah.
So it's a huge issue. It's a pandemic. It's spreading around the world. I personally, I'm using more hand sanitizer. I wouldn't be going out in big groups. Shout out to the people that are going out there. But it is an issue, and it's just GDC shutting down was inevitable with all these companies pulling out around the world. My dad does business for Honeywell. He travels all over the world. They cut flying off for him, right?
Great company, by the way, Saul.
Yeah, if he could drive to places, they were having him drive because the airports are the hotbeds for spreading of the virus. So that's
True.
why these companies are just like, nah, we're pulling out. And you see with the stock market crashing, and it's an issue, right? So GDC folding, shop isn't surprising. You're seeing even soda manufacturers, I think it was Coca-Cola, they're having issues with artificial sweeteners. So like it's all over the place.
Well, let me ask this question, Saul, because you brought up a good point, with the Dow Jones and everything else dropping because of this fear. This question's for you, Forte. Just simmer on it for a second while I do these super chats. The question to you, and I'll come back to you, is, are you seeing any kind of delays coming down the pipe, from the brick and mortar side of things? You know what I'm saying? Is that something we're going to see? And I just want to do a quick shout out and thank you to Longshot316. He says, #who's yelling? Oh, it's going to get loud in here tonight, Longshot. You really, really showed up for the right night. And then Sovereign Cogito says China are taking out all their competition, introduced their new Red Combat next-gen console. Sovereign, come on now. This is a serious conversation, okay? Appreciate the super chat, though, Sovereign. Thank you for being here. But, Forte, are you hearing anything on your end on prepare for a drought as far as hardware may be concerned?
No. I mean, we haven't gotten to that point yet, I don't think. I think the biggest thing that people really need to... What's going to happen is, like, even on the game front, we'll see anything that is already coming into stores is already predetermined before all of this outbreak started happening. Like, a lot of this stuff was already in warehouses and stuff already.
Yes.
But we'll start... You'll notice the effects when it comes to like games that start releasing like in April, like Final Fantasy and stuff. How fast will we get restocked? We know Final Fantasy 7 is going to probably sell out everywhere when it first releases. So how fast are we going to get restocks of those games when they come back into the store? That's going to be the things that's going to be the most telling thing as of right now. I think overall, I don't think we're going to see a delay in hardware, just because I think a lot of the stuff was already ordered, and probably most of those systems that, well, not going to say all the systems were developed already, but for the most part, those parts are already there. Now, when it comes to like longevity of how those systems are going to be like viable throughout the whole holiday and trying to get one, make sure you pre-order one as soon as the pre-orders go live. Agreed. That's the number one thing you need to do. Xbox will probably be in less of a situation just because they have factories in Brazil. They got them in Mexico. They're not really in the hotbed area of China compared to where Sony does most of theirs in Asia and China and Japan and Tokyo and stuff. So that's why you see them kind of pulling back on a lot of different things. And that might be the main reason why you haven't heard any type of news or announcements from what Sony's going to do, because I don't think they want to get gamers excitement all the way up just to bring it completely crashing down if they got to delay the system by a month or two, And
I agree.
At that point, if you're going to miss the holiday, if you're not going to release it in November or October, and you're talking about a December release, at that point you kind of just miss the whole holiday window, because most people during December, it's like little knickknacks. Everybody done pretty much spent their money. They're picking the last little bit things that they need to get. You might as well just delay it into the spring at that point. So I think
completely agree.
I think they're looking at that, and that's why we're not hearing anything about that until they see what's the course of this pandemic's going to happen. Is it going to calm itself down over time? Because we still got 9 months until these systems release at the earliest. So,
remind me, guys.
The E3, we're good.
Hold on, what are they waiting to say, man? My bad, Forte. They're
not going to say anything about this system.
Don't put it there because of the coronavirus, brother.
Listen. Let's just be for real now. Everybody, like, GDC is just the first thing. Don't be surprised if more people start pulling out of E3, depending on how bad this gets down the line.
But brother, that's not the reason why Sony isn't saying anything. Sony isn't saying anything because they do realize Xbox has the power crown. They are going to market their price point.
We're not saying. See, you're thinking in console war terms, sir. I'm not.
No,
we're not.
I'm
thinking,
king neutral. I don't do console wars.
We're not. Listen, we're not thinking about the console war when it comes to this, because yes, I agree with you. The initial reason Sony is waiting is because they wanted to wait for price. That came from Sony's mouth themselves. But now it's a completely different.
Is Sony in the console war, bro?
Listen,
because
everybody's in the console war. When it comes,
come on, man.
Yeah, they're all in the console war with each other, bro. They all want to win, and that's all they want to do. Everybody wants to get everybody's dollar, and you have to do that in order to do it. But the biggest thing is Sony is in a situation where they lose more than they can gain if they go out and say that we're going to release this system at this date, and then they come back and say we got to delay it. That's why you haven't heard any dates on any of these systems yet at this point. Xbox is in the same situation too. Xbox,
yeah, they both are. They both are. Go ahead, Salt.
Nah, Sony's just in a great position right now. I mean, look at all the games that they have down the pipeline. I mean, if there's a delay, so what? I mean, we got games for days, right? But on the Xbox side, all you got is Halo, right? I mean,
well, that's what I was saying last week, Salt, and I know you were listening to the show.
Kids, right?
Yeah, I said this. I said Microsoft can't wait to get to the end of 2020, and Sony kind of wants to hold on to it. You know?
So, Xbox guys are just praying the virus gets a cure, because if it's delayed, man, I mean, that's what they're looking forward to. I mean, they get a boner every time a T-flop's talked about, let's be honest. So, if there's a delay for Sony, I think they're fine with it. There's plenty of games to be had there, and it's just facts here,
Well, you know what? I want to say this much. I want to say a shout out to Sir X-Man in the super chat. He says something that makes everybody proud. He says, maybe we'll start going back to Made in America. That may be Sir X-Man. You never know. And shout out to the former known as Buck Nasta. Marty Bison's here. Marty, thanks for being. I appreciate it. We talked before the show. He says, hey, enjoy the stream, Mooch and panel. Marty, it's better when you're here. I appreciate it. Thank you. Listen, GDC being canceled, that's one thing. But the next thing, Nick, I got to be honest with you. I hope you got yourself a tall glass of water or whatever beverage you really like to drink, because I'm jumping right to one of the subjects that I was actually going to go. It wasn't even on my top 3. And then I kept watching videos and I said, wait a second. Nick's on. I know he can't wait. And I'm kind of intrigued. I'm excited for Baldur's Gate 3. That's right. Mooch said it. I'm excited. It looks good. And it may be the first time I actually sit down at a PC and play the game on a PC. So, Nick, what's the big fuss here? I know that the community's in an uproar about it. I know everybody can't wait to get their hands on it. What do you think is the big deal here? Is it just because we've been starved for, what has it been, 2 decades since the last Baldur's Gate?
Well, it's really a couple of things that come into why this is such a big deal. One is, it's the first Baldur's Gate game, like mainline Baldur's Gate game since 2000 or 2001.
Yes.
So you're talking almost 20 years. And 2, it's being brought back by Larian Studios, which is probably one of the best RPG teams of this generation. Divinity Original Sin 2 is considered one of the best RPGs that released this generation. So to see a team taking over a game that is revered as one of the best RPG games of the PC era, of the crown and glory of the late 90s PC gaming, and then have such a talented and revered studio going hands-on with it, not only going hands-on with it, but not copying it, but doing something that's unique in their own with it. It's insanely exciting to me. Like, I've been massive. If anyone follows me on Twitter, I will never shut up about this game and this franchise.
Well, like I said, and shout out to Alan Savage in the chat. He goes, Enrique's brainwashed Mooch. No, listen, guys, you guys know this. Like, after a long day of working at a PC, I personally, no, it's not my cup of tea. I love the rig I have. It's fantastic. It's capable of things, but I'm a console guy, guys. Sorry, I'm born that way, right? NES born. Let's go. But I mean, I got to go to Salt here. Salt, get your CrossFire gun out, okay? Because this is something here that it's been getting me, and I understand because Stadia was preaching their 10.7. T-flops. I know you love T-flop conversations. But here we are. Here's a game where everyone's like, it's got to have a killer app, right? So now I'm not saying it's your killer app. I'm not.
No.
But right? I know it's not. I know it's not your bag. But I got to be honest with you, Salt. Is this finally something Stadia can hang their hat on?
Yeah, like you said, I could care less about this game, to be honest. Like I've never really even it's never been in my alley. I've never really even heard of it, honestly. So, but the thing is I have friends that are very excited about this game, and then when they heard that it was going to only be on PC and Stadia, they got upset because they're fans of the franchise, you know. So that's generating interest in the platform. So you got to have something like that to pull people over to Stadia, because let's be honest, the service itself is struggling right now. You know,
agreed.
Yeah, so if they could do stuff like this, like bigger games that are draws, an example that's on the other side with like VR, right? Half-Life, that's a huge franchise. You thought you're going to get a game on console, and then boom, you know, Valve puts it on VR, and then their sales for their VR units explode, right?
Yes,
because that's a killer app that people want to play.
That's why
it's moving units, right? So in order to get people into Stadia, they're going to have like something like way bigger than this game, right? But this is a start in the right direction, because you need to have stuff like this to move people over. They're not going to have a reason, right? These old games that they're putting out there, these like indie titles and old, you know, that's not going to get people to come over to Stadia. You know, they're going to have to do stuff like this because they don't have first party studios to make their own content right now.
This is the point, Salt.
You know?
And listen, if you don't want to believe me, I've been saying this for weeks now. Don't listen to Mooch. I'm just telling you what I read here. Phil's the one that came out and said his main competitor is Google and Amazon, right? So he's not upset because of Google, because of YouTube, and he's not mad at Amazon because of, you know, their book service. So let's be honest here. If that's who he's looking at as his main competitors, it's Stadia. So he's listen, these guys all know what they're doing against each other, right? There's no big secret there. And they know what Google's capable of in their purchasing power. So now the thing is, I will say this much, for all the hardcore out there and for everybody that I'll ever have on the panel and for everybody that's in the chat and listening later, I know you guys are not big Stadia fans. I get it. But for every day that we have a show, there's a new gamer that comes into the world, right? So, you can't, right? Well, listen, I'm just saying, every time a bell rings, okay?
Every time.
All right? An angel gets its wings. My point is this, okay? There's new people coming into gaming all the time, and they're going to be introduced to Stadia. They're doing deals with Verizon. They're doing deals over with, I believe it's BT, and pardon me if I'm wrong, over in the UK, where when you get the service, you get the Stadia. So, my point is, right? So, it's in the home.
Yo, Mooch, this is a really good move by Google, you know, for their Stadia service. When it comes down to it, we got to see what games they do kind of grab and bring onto the platform in terms of, you know, new games coming out. Because the biggest thing, one of the biggest problems when it came to Stadia in terms of it releasing with the founders, you know, the beta that people paid for and stuff like that is like a lot of people who went in on that, they have consoles. So they went in to play, you know, basically buy a game again when it comes down to it. And that's one of the big things. Like people are like, well, why am I going to buy a game again? If I bought it for the PS4, like why should I have to buy it again to play it on multiple devices over here? Why should I have to put out that $60? Where with Baldur's Gate 3, which has a big community, a huge fan base for that franchise. When it comes down to it, getting that game there, and it's not on PS4, it's not on Xbox One. Of course, you know, it's going to be on PC, but that gives Stadia a little more breathing room to be a viable option for people to pick that game up on that service.
I see. Go ahead, Forte.
The only thing about, and I agree with you, I agree with you and Saudi on this, but the only thing that kind of threw me for a loop when I heard it is most people that play Baldur's Gate play it on PC. It's not like you're really pulling a console fan away from a console because the people that want to play this game already have PCs more than likely that can run this game regardless. So I'm trying to figure out, unless you are one of those PC fans that want to play your game on like a TV or something, or you don't have a high-end PC that can actually stream it or run it the way it needs to, you can just use Stadia to do it, which is probably less than 5% of the community. I mean, I'm just throwing a number out there. That's the only thing that kind of threw me for a loop on it, but it's a really good deal because I feel it's a big deal. I mean, because if they can do this with games that actually are really entrenched into the console market, that's when you can start seeing them pull people away. So I think this is just something that Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, they should be like kind of focusing on, because if they can pull something like this with a bigger game that's in their wheelhouse, then it could become worrisome for them. But as of right now, I think this is a good move because Stadia needs as many games as they can get into their ecosystem.
Yes.
I watched the reveal. I loved it just because it was natural. It was.
But see, Forte, that's what I'm saying, and I hate
watched it on the stage. He literally died on the stage because of a dice roll, and I was like, dude, this is true D&D. And I was like, I enjoyed it.
It's not even my bag, but I can't wait to try. It looked interesting. You know, you get
interesting, right?
Look, this is the same. I just want to say this to the chat real quick. I want to explain why I'm saying what I'm saying. It's the same thing with Death Stranding when people couldn't understand what I was trying to preach. When people were saying, how could you just want to walk around? I said, listen, I don't like typical walking simulators, but I said, this is something different. It was intriguing. It was different. I'm not saying it was something you'll love, right? But I ended up really enjoying Death Stranding. And guess what? This is something that's completely out of my wheelhouse. And when I watched that same thing you watched, Forte, I absolutely fell in love with it. It looks great.
I did too.
Right? So shout out to Marty Bison for becoming the newest VIP Mooch Maniac. Marty, I can't say thank you enough. And I'd also like to say what's up to Lady Foxfire, who says we need to donate to Mooch when he doesn't talk about Stadia. Hashtag Super Chat. Fantastic. Good to have Lady Foxfire here. I appreciate that. Bit, where that Bit? You're in the chat. You're supposed to be on the show. Listen. All right, here's the deal. I'm right. There's Bit. Bit, you're on the wrong side of the curtain. All right.
Yo.
Go ahead,
Mooch.
Sol.
One of the things that stood out to me that I put this on my Twitter was the developer talking why it wasn't coming to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. He said that it wouldn't fulfill his vision for the game, right? They'd have to make sacrifices for it, and this kind of knocks on that whole scalability thing. And
what did he say?
Taking
that they had to tweak, brother.
Okay, do you want me to quote the whole thing? Because
he said he had to tweak textures.
He will.
He had to tweak textures.
So, Xbox, what does tweaking mean to you? All right. So if you're a painter, right, and you want to paint this picture,
I actually am a painter. So
and then someone says you can't use the colors black, green, red. Are you gonna be able to paint the picture that you wanted?
I can make something out of it.
The question is no. All right. So what I'm trying to tell you,
making no sense right now.
I'm making plenty of sense, right? All right.
Dude, so I'm an artist.
If you take out textures, right, or you take out the amount of AI that could be on the screen, and then a developer wanted to have certain things in their game, and they cannot have those things, you're limiting their creative ability.
That's called a compromise.
They're compromising what they want.
To scale it down because it would change the look of the game. You know, that is basically what it said.
So what does that mean? What does that mean to you? What does that mean to you? Right? Huh? It is a compromise.
Dude, whenever you scale something down, it's not going to look as good as the original.
He's an artist of a game. He wants certain things in his game, and with the lowest common denominator, you have to take things out. So that's why he's like, "Fuck that! We're not having them on these low consoles." Right?
That's the PS4 and the Xbox. Look as good as possible. He doesn't want a less beautiful game out there is pretty much what he's saying. So that
takes a bat and smashes the whole.
No, it doesn't. Not at all.
Yes, it does.
Not at all. No, it doesn't.
Here's the Xbox. It does bring a conversation piece up though a bit, right? Because here you have a developer saying it's the same kind of idea. Because if we're saying that we're going to be able to scale the games down moving forward to deal with the Xbox S and the SAD edition, here you have a developer saying I don't want to do that.
The Xbox S and even the Xbox One X is gonna get the inferior editions of the games. They're not talking parity and stuff like that, but they're saying, hey, if you don't want to swing in for a new console or whatever, these games are going to be playable. All right.
What if they're not there though, Xbox? Just hypothetically.
What do you mean if they're not there?
No,
who's not there?
The thing is I've talked to a person that was actually developing games, and he's mentioned specifically
that quite a lot
the lowest common denominator, the lowest tiered system. He went down, broke it down, right? There's a low limit, right? A basement, right? If you're gonna have to take things out. If that system can't run those things, then they have to be out, or that system can't run the game. There's a basement. That's why it said
but it doesn't
AI
take anything
textures.
away. When it comes to scalability, it doesn't take anything away
When you're developing a game,
the
right?
top title on the most powerful hardware, it's not taking away from that. It's taking it away for playing on the less powerful hardware when it comes down to it.
When you're a development team, right, and you're coming to the table and saying, what do we want to do for next generation? We want to have the open world this size. We want to have this many AI. We want to push the boundaries of next gen, right?
Which you rarely see in a launch of a system.
Okay,
rarely.
Then you see this, right? And then they're like, nah, we can't do that because we can only have this amount of AI because of the Xbox fat, right? 1.3 teraflops. Or we cannot have these textures because they won't load in on that system.
So
you
they'll
scale
downplay the
resolution and
textures.
frame rates.
You can
scale
bump the frame rates
textures
up,
too, right?
Brother.
So this guy coming out.
Talk to this developer, man, because you can scale textures.
Trust me. So you get a quote from a game developer that says he is not putting Baldur's Gate, which is not a next-gen title, right? It's not that graphically demanding. He said we're not putting it on the piece of shit PlayStation.
Who said it wasn't graphically demanding?
One, right?
Demanding.
For what it is right now, 2020, right? Baldur's Gate. He's not putting it on the Xbox One.
I'm gonna let you off the hook, brother, because this isn't going anywhere, man.
No, I think. Listen, I think I understand where you're coming from, Xbox, but you have to, the developer made the point, so Salt's just saying this is what he doesn't want
his game to be shown on an inferior powered system because it will change the look of the game.
Is that not the same thing?
That's my argument. Thank you. Right?
When you bring down textures, when you bring down lighting and stuff, it does change the look of the game. But when it comes to scalability, it doesn't mean that the game's not playable like people were claiming before. When it comes to forwards compatibility and stuff like that, it's holding the game at the top back. No, it's not actually. When it comes down to it, the bigger worlds and stuff that people are talking about, you're not even going to see in the first year after consoles launch. Dead Rising 3 tried to do it in the beginning of the Xbox One, but you very, very rarely see any developers try to completely utilize everything that system has to offer within the first year. And that's facts right there.
Let me do a quick shout out to the Ashton Luca, who's your hashtag my New York. She says, shout out to my boo Mooch. In case you're wondering, that's me. GDC has been postponed. Xbox guys who made up conspiracy theories on why Sony didn't go to PAX. Congrats on being dumb. Luca, always great to have you here. Thank you for being here. Appreciate that super chat. Bit, let me just welcome Bit Cloud Gaming. Bit is here, folks, okay? Let me tell you guys what Bit does, okay? Bit does a double-decker freaking show every Friday. Bit, it's great to have you here, buddy. I appreciate it. And maybe not only saying hello and how you're doing tonight, you've heard Xbot, you've heard Salty, you've heard Forte and me trying to chime in. What's your take on the whole Baldur's Gate situation? What's up, buddy?
I don't really care, to be honest with you, about that game.
Thanks for your input, Bit.
When I jumped in here, I was like, okay, I see Salty literally like in a knife fight with damn Xbox. I'm like, okay, let me get my popcorn.
It's called CrossFire. It's not Kumbaya, Bit.
Bit, you want some? Shit.
Bit, you want some of this?
I'll think stupid like you want some.
That's great. What do you think, though, Bit? I mean, is this something? So Baldur's Gate you have no interest in it?
I do, not really. But hey, if you guys like it, sure, have fun, enjoy that shit. It's not really something that I bat an eyelash towards. I do find it funny though, because we had a good show today and we just crossed 6K subs. But
congratulations!
We were talking about we were talking about GDC, motherfuckers. With the conspiracy theorists. Sony can't afford to go to GDC and these events, but here go Microsoft. Oh well, yeah, they're saying the same thing that Sony said. The reason why they're not joining. The health of their employees. I could have sworn me and Forte had a one-on-one about that. Did we not, brother? We got crucified by a few people.
Yeah, we did, man. People in the chat was like, "Look, man, what are you talking about, man? They good. Like, Jesus
they can't
Christ.
afford it. I mean, look how much money Sony
They broke.
Sony
Look,
can't
man,
afford
I put out a tweet talking about that. As soon as Microsoft pulled out of GDC, I was like, so Microsoft must be broke too.
Or they must be afraid of the Xbox. You know, that's probably what it was.
We're all afraid of the Xbox, bro. That's what it is, man.
Everybody's afraid of the Xbox. So Facebook's scared of this shit. Get everybody like, what the fuck, man? Now it's postponed.
Well,
the Series X is really.
Hey, you know what? Let me ask. I got a question for you guys. Shout out to Cybernox in the chat. He says, Mooch. So what happens if you have a lower end rig or not an up to date GPU? How does
minimum requirements, man?
Minimum. I'm gonna say as long as it meets the minimum requirements, it will work with any game. For what it is. Every PC, every game, even Doom Eternal, if you go to the main page, it tells you the basic minimal requirements to run that game. So you meet those requirements, you're good. But if you obviously, if you're like us, you have higher end rigs, then this is not really an issue.
Well, I gotta say, shout out to the Don. Shout out to the Don. He goes, it's simple. They don't want to put in the work. It's not that complicated. I want to say this. I want to say this though, Don. Hashtag lazy devs. Remember that?
Oh,
that was a Mooch campaign back in the day for Diablo 3.
I wouldn't say they're lazy. They just don't want their game being run on the less powerful system where they do have to scale down the textures to a certain extent. They have to scale down the lighting to a certain extent.
I think I gotta say though, Xbox, what you're saying though is a little different than what Don's saying. Because they could do what you're saying and scale it down.
Me and Don.
And Don's saying they're lazy. They're not. They don't want to do the work. He is.
Yeah, and I'm not signing that check. Is what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Don,
you're not. You're not.
My brother. I am not signing that check.
No.
But I will put it out there and be like, hey, for some rhyme or reason, the developers.
I'm not signing the check, but I'm photocopying it. Go ahead.
No, but I'm saying that they just want their game to be shown without having that version on the less powerful systems where they're scaling down the textures, the lighting, and everything to the point where it does look different. They want it to look as pristine as possible wherever it is, wherever it's being played. And it's up to the devs at the end of the day, man. Let's be real here. We're going to have third party, at the launch of these consoles, and there's going to be some third party developers that are going to be like, you know what? We're going to have this game just come out on the PS5 and the Series X and whatever, systems come out in that area, just because that's the way we want our game to be seen. There's a chance of that happening as well, man.
Very true. And listen, guys, I just want to let you know that Guinness World Book of Records just called me for a non-Baldur's Gate 3 podcast. We just spoke Baldur's Gate 3 longer than any other podcast on YouTube. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you being here for that. Guys, the first main topic we have here, and I know this will get bit. This is going to get salt going. But I do want to start with Nick. Nick, listen, I got to start with you because Nick does such a great job, guys. You guys don't really realize this, and if you don't, it's a shame on you. Nick does a lot of great writing for the Iron Lords podcast channel, their .com. He does so much for that organization. I want to say, Nick, what is your take when this past Monday the news broke on the Xbox Series X specs being revealed? What does this tell us moving forward? I know there's a lot, and this is just an onion. We're peeling the top layer. There's a lot to talk about with what Sony may come back with, but what do we know now moving forward with 12 teraflops and what this thing is capable of doing? Is this something that you think is what we thought it was going to be? And do you think it's going to be a $500 price tag? Mooch, I'm leaning towards 600 here, Nick.
Oh, there's a couple of things. Price point wise, I'll get into that after, obviously. The biggest thing is obviously it's a great next generational leap. I won't comparing to what Sony's doing. I hate doing the comparison of what is Xbox doing towards Sony. I look at more of what is Xbox doing to deliver to their current user base. So the thing is in comparison to the Xbox One X, it's a great generational jump. And this was my main concern when we had these mid-gen refreshes is how are they going to sell us on next generation hardware? Because we just bought these refresh consoles less than 2-3 years ago, tops. So how are they going to do that? So the jumps that we've seen in technology and what they're promising with the Series X, if it hits all of these marks that they say it's going to hit, then it's going to be a great next generation console. And Microsoft has figured out the hardware end of things once again. Now, the software thing is what their next step and what they have to tackle next, obviously. That's a whole different discussion topic, obviously. But the hardware end, they seem to be doing great. They seem to understand what they're doing with it. That's fine. Price point,
Come on, you want to say it.
The thing is within my heart, I want it to be $4.99, but realistically, in myself, I think it's going to be $5.99 for the simple reason I think it'll be $5.99 is because if they do a multi-tier system where they have a Series S, for example, they can get away with going higher to an extent.
Okay.
Until I say to an extent is because no one's ever done anything like that before in the console market. So it's hard to say what it means because we have no data to back up what that could mean. I was impressed with the spec reveal as much as I can be impressed with a spec sheet. I need to see stuff running on it for me to truly be blown away and impressed, and everything else that'll obviously come later. But yeah, I think they had a good, I put in quotation, showing, so to speak, of what the specs are going to be on this console. I got to tell
you, Nick, this is the reason I went to you first. You just saved a whole Mooch rant. You nailed exactly how I felt. I was impressed with the numbers. It's not that we didn't know those numbers, but it was confirmed. I'm with you on the price. I think that the price can go a little higher in the $600 threshold if, in fact, there is a Series S out there or on the way. Microsoft is going to sell this thing as a premium product. They are not going to make two different consoles and sell this thing for $500. It's not going to happen. And I do want to do a couple quick shout outs to the Super Chat here, and then I want to go to the rest of the panel. Shout out to Sir X-Man. He says, they start losing money, they'll come to the console. And I want to say a thank you to Sovereign Kagito for the Super Chat. I will not be reading that out loud, but I do appreciate you being here, Sovereign Kagito. Thank you, Sovereign.
Actually, can I throw in one more thing, too?
Please, Nick,
really been bugging me. I've been seeing people sit there, and both PlayStation and Xbox fans have been saying this, and it's one of the dumbest arguments I've ever seen, is, well, they can sell it at a loss. People really don't understand that if you're a company, the last thing you want to do is sell a product at a loss.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Because let's face it, the little known fact, because most of us that started following the financial end of this started this generation. The PlayStation 3 historically, I believe, was sold at a loss of almost $200 at one point to try and get those things off the shelf. Sony almost bankrupted themselves off of people buying their console. PlayStation's not going to do that again. Xbox isn't going to do that again. Just because you have high service, like even Sony, who is exponentially high in PS Plus dollars and everything else, you cannot go to your shareholders and be like, so for every console we sell, you're going to lose $40.
Right.
No shareholder in the right mind.
You make a shit ton more in software, though. That's the thing. Like they could.
Yeah, there is a lot more. There's a lot more.
That's why I said it wouldn't be the system. That's why I keep telling people, as much as I think $499 is going to probably end up being the price point of this, I still believe $600 is the asking price of what they should do for the system, because I feel like they have other avenues that can go down to like supplement the price of people getting the things they want. Like they already showed the intensity to actually give Game Pass away, and we know that they're talking about putting 3 months of Game Pass inside of every box when you buy the new system. Why not just go a whole year? You already gave it away for $1 to everybody that upgraded for 2 years for the same dollar that they spent to get into the service. Why not just pack every system, make it $600, say, hey, the value proposition for this system is, yes, you're going to pay for the power up front, but you're going to get all of these games day and day.
In case you're wondering, Forte, I'm doing the Tony Stark right now. I'm doing the preach as you're doing this, because that's exactly what needs to happen. And I'm doing that for the other reason. I'm also doing that because I'm about to fall out of my chair. Thank you, Wilmy Hood, for that great super chat. He says, buy both consoles. Enjoy the best year in gaming we've had in a long time. That's a good point, folks. You know, I think Xbox said it. Xbox, you said it last week.
Buy us consoles?
I don't think he said that technically. I can't put words in anyone's mouth on this show. It's not the right thing to do, Xbox. But you said it yourself. Gamers win here. Wilmy, thank you so much. I'm absolutely speechless. That's hard to do to the Mooch. Go ahead.
Undead is right on the money, man. He couldn't be even more right than he is, because if you look at like the past, like the numbers, the PS3 like killed Sony, right? Because they were just bleeding money. And then if you look at like how much it was to actually make manufacture the PlayStation 4 and ship it, it was about an $8 margin when they got that product out at $400. So automatically, I can't even like add up how many times people are like, "Oh, Sony ate like $100 per console on the PlayStation 4." No, they didn't. You know, it's so much misinformation out there. You know, and then on the Xbox,
they had a small profit on the PS4.
Yeah, it was like $8.
It was small,
I think.
Yeah.
So, and then on the Xbox side, people were like, "Well, if Xbox really wants to be cutthroat, they can just." Eat $100 on each console. I was like, well, why didn't they do that for the Xbox One X? It was $500, or the SAD console came out at $300. You know, so these companies aren't in the business to eat hundreds of dollars of losses on their hardware. It just doesn't make any sense. But yeah,
no, I don't think they're in the business of that either. But that's why I say you go there. They should go with what they already shown that they're willing to do. System. $600, because that's what I think the asking price of that system is going to be. And the thing that they don't care about how many people buy the system. That's another thing, because they keep saying you play games wherever you want to play at. So especially if they're going to have a two-prong attack where they're going to have another system that's going to come in underneath, why not just charge the price that the X is going to be worth, and then tell everybody like, hey, we're giving everybody that buys this system 1 year of Xbox Game Pass, add it to your library, and then use all the games that you gonna have in there as the selling point for it. Outside of that, there's really nothing else they really need to do, because if they're gonna have another system that's at $399 or $299 in a Lockhart, that's the system that's gonna sell regardless. It's not the X is just gonna sell until they sell out of it, and then that's it.
I've got to be honest with you, Forte. That's the thing. If we're going to say the golden bullet for Xbox, it's anything. It's going to be Game Pass. Why not put that thing in there for a year, give it away for free, let people go home with a $600 box and be able to play 200 games plus, right? I don't get why that's not the strategy. And shout out again to Wilmy Hood, who said, want me to say it again for the people in the back. Okay? Wilmy, thank you so much. You've just helped Mooch possibly even. I'm a third of the way to the Xbox One Series X. Holy shit. All right, that being said, I just want to say this. I do agree with both of you guys. I think, to be honest with you, that's the strategy that Microsoft's going to put out, Forte. I think that's going to be in the box. If they're throwing 2 weeks or 4 weeks of Game Pass in the box, that's not really striking up the hunger. You want to get people, I've been saying this since day one with Game Pass, and shame on me for not putting it in the topics, but we're going to talk about it because there was a lot of articles. And Salt, you were talking about it this week earlier on Twitter about what Game Pass may do eventually, kind of like a long stream or a long-term issue with developers. But, the one thing that Xbox needs to do is they've kind of got to get people, and I'm going to use this word, they've got to get you addicted to Game Pass, right? That's what they need to do. If I was working for, and I'm not being negative here, guys, I'm telling you, if Microsoft said, Mooch, what is it that you think we really need to do moving forward? You see everything we have here in the Series X and what we're doing with power and console and PC and day and date. I said, listen, here's what we got to do. You've got an unbelievable service, but myself personally, I don't think you're reaching everybody yet. I just don't think you're reaching everybody yet. Give this thing to people for a year. Trust me when I tell you, okay? Even me, okay? I'm guilty as charged. I had Stadia Pro, right? I got the Pro thing. I was the Founders Edition. I said, you know what? I'll do 1 more month. I've had it for 3 months. I'm playing it. I'm using it. And I want to see what's coming next, right? I want to see what they're going to give us next. I feel like Salt said earlier, they've got to do something to lure people in. So I'm always like, you know what? For $10, let me see what they do next. What I'm saying is what Forte's saying, but long-winded. Put the year into the box. Let people get addicted to Game Pass. And let me tell you something, folks, okay? If you're not a hardcore gamer and you come home every day and you've got 250 games at your leisure, and then on the day, the 366th day, you don't have any games, then you're going to think about maybe re-upping your Game Pass subscription. Does that hold water with you guys?
Oh, yeah, dude. I think it, in terms of what Microsoft is trying to do here, and talking about their platform and trying to get as many people playing on in the Xbox ecosystem, it would be a no-brainer to throw in a year. I'm not sure if they're going to do a year, but definitely more than 3 months. But I would be down for a year, man. You know me.
My whole thing is, why wouldn't you throw it in there for a year when you already gave it away? Like,
for $1.
They've been giving it away for $1 to $3 for the last year and a half almost now.
That's true.
It's not like it's hurt. And then they literally went out and told everybody, hey, if you already subscribed to Game Pass, you can up your Game Pass subscription up to 3 years by just literally buying this. They told you that. So it's not like a secret that nobody knows about at this point. And Microsoft knows people can do that. So why not just do the good gesture of put it in a box and say, hey, Halo's the killer app that's going to be in here, and all the rest of our games are going to be in here. And then if they can go even deeper with saying that games like Cyberpunk is going to be in there, that's even more of a wrap. But for me personally, that's what they need to do in general. Even if they don't get any other third-party games to go day and date in there, they should at least double down on their own services being in that box for at least 1 year.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree, but I do want to read this one individual here. This is a great point. He said, Lone Star says, Mooch, you think after the debacle of 2013 and being $100 more than the PS4, you then think they will repeat that in 2020, 500 versus 600? Not happening. I don't know if everyone's listening. And shout out to Luca who says, Mooch, I got to, all the love, got to go. My Italian, Luca, thank you for being here. I can't thank you enough. It always means the world to me when you stop by. Guys, do please check out Scumcast tomorrow. I know Slow Mo's on later, and I know that Gaming Forte might even show up there tomorrow. Shout out to Luca, thank you. But I don't think this is the same situation. We've got to stop reverting back to 2013. That's all I keep hearing. Remember in 2013, guys?
Especially when it comes to, if you talk about $600, that's the first thing people bring up is a PS3. And I try to tell people that was like back then, like before 2013, that launch of the PS3, $600 at that point in time was a hell of a lot of money.
But now, Xbot, let me just say this though. I know where you're going with this, but the only reason I agree with you, if and only if, like Nick said, there's a Lockhart. Because if there's no Lockhart,
I'm going off that assumption, man. I really am. It would make absolute sense when it comes down to it. If they want both the Power Crown and that the price narrative, when it comes down to it, they had it with the two systems. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it will be interesting to see what happens at that point in time. And rumor I got when it came to the Lockhart in terms of like power, it wasn't less powerful than the One X like originally those rumors that surfaced were. And if they can get that nice like power level with the price point and come in cheaper, and still have that premium, more powerful console, it's going to be really interesting, bro. Like what exactly happens with these consoles.
Shout out to Wilmy who's got me laughing. He goes, I got Stadia too. We are all alone, Mooch. It does, I got news for you. It does feel like a deserted island. I ain't gonna lie to you. You know,
dude, I was on gaming Beyond the Box, and me and the rest of his crew were just going in on him about Stadia like throughout the show. Yeah.
I gotta say, it is. I don't mind playing the games that I do play on there. Are the games that I would never play on PlayStation or Xbox. I'm generally always, and I understand that Baldur's Gate's there, and I'm glad. But here I am. I'm telling you guys right now, if and when I do pick that up, it's gonna be. I'm gonna play it on PC. I mean, I would be out of my freaking mind not to. Shout out to Sovereign Kagito. He said, "There's only one Lord and Savior, and Phil Spencer ain't it." That sounds like a new song coming out, Sovereign. It sounds like 99 Problems. But here's the thing. I do think that when it comes down to it, Xbox, where I think you're right that they won't go back down that $600 price point thing again. Absolutely, they don't. But they will in fact be six. I personally think the Series X will be $600 if they launch a Lockhart side by side. If there's no Lockhart, well, I got to kind of take it back to the drawing board, right? Forte, what were you saying?
I said they can't go in at $600 if there's no way to combat the price of the PS5.
Exactly. You got to have a cheaper option at this point.
Yeah.
And I remember all of us thought the series, the Xbox One X was going to be their Lockhart at first.
Well, that's what I was arguing for a long time.
Yeah, I thought that was it. But
I kept telling people, that on BRAP. I was like, dude, listen, the Lockhart is going to be the X, and people were like, no, man, the X is going to hold everything back. I was like, dude, and that's the thing people don't get about the X. Yes, the X is still running on old architect. It's going to be running on the Jaguar, but it still has power that hasn't been realized
or
this
tapped
generation
into,
or
yeah.
tapped into, just because it was truly being held back by the other systems. And I can get why people keep saying that the same thing is going to happen with the Series X, because you still have that same chain around the neck dog called the original trash Xbox that's going to be sitting there holding people back.
Well, wait.
I understand that, but the biggest thing is, why double down on another system SKU when you already have a SKU that hasn't been completely
hasn't completely done to it.
realized?
So this is
Undead. He said, like, what have they done to sell you on the new platform, or like they did for when you talking about the mid-gen refreshes? Like, no, you notice Sony had games for games like left and right for PS4 Pro and of course PS4. There wasn't really that much out here for that really took full advantage of Xbox One X. In terms of the third-party games, the one game that sticks out in terms of third-party was Red Dead 2. And that was pretty much it. You know, that was pretty much it. So there wasn't really no insane, you know what I'm saying? No insane killer app first-party-wise to really push it. I mean, I guess you could say Gears 5 maybe, but I would say that was overshadowed by the PC, to be honest with you.
So I think, Bit, you kind of lined up a great, and it's not a segue, it's just a part two to the same topic. Is here we are right now as we stand. Xbox currently has Xbox Game Pass. First-party games in there, okay? An amazing third-party lineup in there. They have the strongest, most powerful console on the market. They've recently done a huge sale on it, and they're not doing well. So when I turn around and I tell you in November, they're going to have Game Pass with first-party games in it. They're going to have decent third-party games in Game Pass, and they're going to have the most powerful console. How is it that I can get more excited in November versus today? Because the thing about it is this. I do think Halo Infinite has a tremendous amount of pressure on it, because I think Halo, believe it or not, guys, and tell me if you guys agree with me here. I think Halo Infinite is believe it or not, all this hardware talk, I think Halo Infinite is the make or break for the Series X.
It kind of reminds you back with the 360. Remember that, Mooch, when they had Halo 3?
Yes.
And it was kind of treated like a big event. Remember that?
Yes.
That's massive. The pressure. Yeah, that's kind of the pressure I feel is on Halo Infinite right now with the Series X.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah, a lot of people, I know you talk to as many people as I do, you know, a lot of people have the same thing in common when you tell them how do you feel going into this, they tell you that it needs to deliver on not just the multiplayer but single player. You know, they want it to deliver on. They've
gotten all the slack we're going to give them. 343 has to deliver on all fronts
for a lot of people, and that's the problem too. When you have everybody putting a lot of pressure on you to make sure that this is not only perfect, it's even when you put $500 million into this, everybody wants this game to deliver on both fronts that matter, and that's the single player and multiplayer. Nobody wants to hear, well, the single player was fantastic, but that multiplayer was nobody wants to hear that. There's no excuses for that, especially if you got a new console and you're dubbing this as the powerful beast. There's no room for error to push this game out. You know, this game needs to be their event. This needs to be their big thing to stand behind.
I completely agree. I mean, an Xbox, you're the resident Halo expert.
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
and I know that, you know what? I don't think you're really going to push back on this. I think that you've been very clear, and you kind of agree with every sentiment that we've said over the past few weeks that, one Halo had a predominant single player. The next Halo had a great
Halo 4
multiplayer,
was
right?
One of the best stories I've ever.
I enjoyed it myself. I did enjoy it myself. Halo 5, not so much. But,
But
what do you think about Infinite?
I follow the breadcrumbs. The importance of Halo Infinite is absolutely right, and I think 343 knows this, which is why they built a brand new engine. All right, that they developed Halo Infinite on. That will know. They knew ahead of time what was going on with the Series X and everything like that. So they are going to be. I feel like they are going to be ready to drop some jaws when it comes to Halo, and you see like the gameplay and stuff like that. When you're hearing about kind of like the open worldness of the campaign, you could go left or right. You're hearing about RPG elements, stuff like that. That made Halo Reach. Hold on, one of the things that made Halo Reach so fun to play was when it came down to it, you can customize your Spartan with pieces that you unlock playing multiplayer, playing the game, playing the campaign.
Right.
And I think they're bringing that back for Halo Infinite.
But Halo,
and
will you,
and,
Xbox, do you think Halo Infinite has a tremendous amount of pressure on its shoulders? I certainly do.
I do too.
I think it does, but I'm always, Mooch, you've known me for absolute years.
Yes,
I started
absolutely.
talking a bit. I'm always kind of like more of the cup half full type person when it came down to it. I know people don't really state this anymore, but before Spider-Man came out for PS4, I was the one trying to talk Mooch into saying that that's going to be a great game. All right. Like I am a very positive person. I know there's a lot of pressure on them. There's a lot of pressure with them being kind of like the development studio that's making it now. They haven't really knocked it out the park with their 2 attempts so far with the franchise. So people point back at Bungie like, man, I wish Bungie was back here. You got, of course, a split in the Halo community. People want Spartan abilities. They don't want Spartan abilities. Like the Halo community, you're never going to satisfy everybody. All right. You're not going to. That community is always going to be fractured like that. But when it comes down to it, I think they know the importance, which is why they're like, you know what? Instead of coming out with another Halo this generation, let's go ahead and build the new engine that we're going to make the new game on. If you look at the not just the toys, but the collectible figurines. Yeah. When it comes to Halo, you look at the styling of like the grunts and stuff like that, and I really like what they're doing.
Well,
I have a question. Yeah. I have a question.
Go ahead.
I got a question for you. You named off a lot of stuff. And I know, dude, you got Xbot in your name and you 448 in your name. So I know where your allegiance. But what do you want to see different from Halo to say it's successful in your eyes?
Great question, Forte.
See, the funny thing was with Halo 5, when it came to the story, it seemed like the set pieces were all there. Like you had your kind of like going in and sneaking around type, levels. You had your bigger going in with the tank type levels, your typical bigger kind of like Halo battle scenes and stuff like that. I think it was the emotion behind the story that was absolutely lacking at that point in time. All right. And when it came down to it, like there was people trying to feel for how Cortana is evil now. And can you imagine what Master Chief is going through in terms of that was basically his partner in crime there, and now she is on the other team or whatnot. I think emotionally, when it comes to the story, they have to get the Halo fans out there, the newer people that are going to try out the game. They're going to have to get them emotionally attached to what's going on in the story. Okay. I think that's what was lacking in Halo 5. The gameplay was good, everything like that. But there was an emotional detachment, I would say, because I even felt it myself, man. If you look at all the hours I played Halo 5, I'll say 90% of that was all multiplayer.
Okay. So just to go off what you just said, and I'm so happy you said what you said, because I was really concerned for a while that was completely something else. Because
you can trust in King Neutral. That's all I gotta say.
Listen. I applaud you for saying that, because the thing I always hear from people talking about Halo is, dude, the game plays well, the collectibles look good, the characters look good. Dude, ain't nobody gonna ever say that Halo isn't a great looking game. Right. No one's gonna say the game doesn't play well. The emotional attachment to that game is utter trash. It has been trash ever since. Look, Halo 4 was okay.
Halo 4 had an emotional attachment to it, man.
It was better. It was better. It wasn't like Bungie, exactly. It wasn't that.
Dude,
it was good. Listen.
Sacrificed herself for you, brother.
Listen,
Don't
the
tell
fact,
me you didn't shed a tear, man.
Listen, the fact that they went in and had to change the whole formula lets you know, because that's the one thing I hate about developers nowadays. They take what the most outlandish thing is and turn it on its head and completely go in the opposite direction. And guess what? They're not the only ones that do it, because we all play Destiny. But Bungie does it too. They do it too at an even bigger scale sometimes.
Some of the stuff they're talking about for Destiny 2 is incredible, by the way. Oh my goodness.
But overall, I'm happy you said that, because that is the problem with Halo. And that's what the problem for me is with Halo. I'm never going to give up on them until I just can't believe in anything they're doing. That's why I keep telling everybody this is like their last chance. And you have and that's another reason they have a brand new engine that they're building this game in. So they're not being held back by anything. Microsoft came out and said that this game is not going to see any chinks or cracks in the armor when it comes to being across all the game systems. They said you're going to get the best version of Halo.
Now, what's funny about that, and Xbox, like you said, Xbox, we've been podcasting together for a very long time. One of the things that bothered you so much when the Xbox One X was going to be coming out, it wasn't out yet, was you were pissed that remember the rumor was PUBG would be 60 frames and everybody on the S and prior would be left on the 30 frames. And you were pissed.
The same generation. Because it was the same generation. When it came down to it, I wanted parity when it came to the multiplayer. Whatever they wanted to do single player wise and stuff like that, I really didn't care.
Realize there won't be parity on these new systems with the Series X when it comes to Halo and multiplayer.
We'll see what happens. They haven't come out and said that they're trying to do anything parity wise.
And if there is parity, there's a problem.
Yeah,
because I paid $600 for a brand new system.
Yeah, they got to stop with that.
They got to stop.
Dude, you got all that eye candy that's coming down the.
I don't care about.
I'm telling you,
I don't care about eye candy. I go on my PC and turn the settings all the way down to get higher frame rates. I don't care about the eye candy.
Oh, you're one of those guys.
Let me ask you this, guys, and I'm going to go.
One thing I can tell you,
go ahead,
add on to it as well. The situation again. So. The pressure, back to where you say pressure is on Halo.
Yes.
Again, the pressure that's on Halo, keep in mind, this is another installment in a game where people are mixed. A lot of people are mixed in their reactions, right? Go and look at probably one of Sony's most anticipated, if not their biggest, most anticipated game that's supposedly coming in 2021. Obviously, it's not confirmed, but that's the one that's been going around as Spider-Man 2. At the end of Spider-Man 1, more people had an emotional attachment to that game going into the sequel.
Yes.
More people are talking about Spider-Man 2 for PS5. You know what I'm saying? In a positive way, a positive light. More people have more praise, more positives going into that. No doubts, basically, versus what you got with Halo.
A single player experience. Like you said, people got emotionally attached in the first
Spider-Man. But it's what was trying to get to you. Halo is lacking that type of stuff to get you involved into the game. It's lacking that.
See with that, like I said, I follow the breadcrumbs. I feel like with Halo 4, they did a quality story, the story, and if it was great, they're like, oh, it was great and stuff like that. But in the long run, it's going to be the compare that people are going to keep going in and playing. That's like one thing that Halo has that Spider-Man doesn't. So if they say that about
Gears 5 as well.
They kind of say that about Gears 5, bro.
Yeah, it's like ghost towns over there. So hopefully it's not like that, right? But I think the most hardcore people like Xbot and the guy that, the hardcore Halo people would say that Halo's just fine. You know what I'm saying? It's the same that it's ever been.
I never said it's just fine.
Okay, so you think the popularity is where it was when it was Halo 2, Halo 3?
No. Halo 2 and Halo 3 were some of the biggest releases in console video game history.
Yeah, that was.
So the thing is, so you have pillar franchises for the big three, right? Mm-hmm. Last of Us 2 is coming out. What's the excitement level for Last of Us 2? It's off the charts, man.
A lot of people, that's the game of the gen for them. They're waiting for that like crazy.
I've got about 80 hours of the original Last of Us leading up to it, Salt. I can't wait.
People would cut their arms off to play it early, right? They're probably crying still because it got delayed. The thing is, with Halo, it's been on the decline ever since 343 picked it up. You could say, "Oh,
that's a good point."
Halo 4 had a good campaign. The multiplayer sucked. Whatever. The thing is, it's like you follow these trends. It's like a downslope with this franchise, and with God of War met this wall. Right? They had to reinvent God of War because if you follow the developer diaries, the making, Kratos and whatever that the developer diaries there, they were at a point where they're going to shut down the studio almost. It was like make or break. They're like, we have to take all these risks. We got to change this because what we're doing is not working. And if you could do that with a game like God of War, a beloved game like that, the same thing could happen with Halo, because everybody pulls Halo on this pillar as one of the best games ever made. Yeah, a long time ago, but times change and you have to evolve your game. It's kind of like Mario.
Yeah.
How many times has Mario been a Game of the Year nominee? Is it because Mario stayed the same? No, they've adapted and changed the game, right? Odyssey, they added a hat and all this other mechanics to the game. They've changed it, and it evolves with time. That's the thing with Halo. And they're spending $500 million on a new engine, and there's over 500 people at the developer. They better hit the 500 shit out the park, bro.
The 500 million is the engine development and game development.
Okay, but all of it together. If you're Microsoft, right, and this is your pillar franchise, because if you say, what do you associate Xbox with? Master Chief and Halo would come up 9 times out of 10, right?
Yeah.
The identity of your company is important to Xbox to have this thing just be popular and good. And the thing is like, you look at other games that spend extra time and this kind of a budget on their games. What happened with those games? Like Red Dead 2, right? Extra time in the cooker, lots of money for development, hit it out the park, right? Then you look at God of War, right? Extra time in to cook the game, lots of money in development, lots of risk, knocked it out the park, Metacritic wise, critically, sales wise. That's what has to happen to this game. It can't be another 84, because that's what's I'm looking.
Yeah, that's the trend.
It's like the trend for all the Xbox games except for the racers, right? You look at Halo 5, 84, Gears of War 4, 84. Gears 5, 84. It's like they're hitting these 84 marks. Why not hit a 90 plus and have it be this banger must sell game? Because you're spending. It's got to be, man. I want it to be that. It's got for the industry. We need that. We need it. Plain and simple. I want this Halo game to be a must buy, must play game. Halo's back. Fucking buy it. The campaign's fucking awesome. The multiplayer is awesome. Let's go. Xbox is back. That's what we need. You know the question. Hey, it's just average, right? You know.
Yeah, you know the question.
Completely agree. So
whole situation too. That you have to ask yourself: is Halo Infinite even in the same position like Halo 3 was? Does it have that same type of like, you know what I'm saying? Does this game even stand that type of chance to have that type of impact going into Series X? And the reason why I said that is because remember, it's releasing on what? Series X and what? Xbox.
Well, the only reason why it won't have that same kind of like, Halo 3 had an insane amount of momentum because of Halo 2. All right, when it came down to it, and I put this out there, Halo 2 is my favorite Halo of all time. Absolute favorite. And with them coming in and they were evolving the game then with dual wielding, having 2 different guns, one in each hand and stuff like that. And they built off the success of that. Now, when it comes down to it with Halo 5, now, if you're in the Halo community, you know that the Halo community got completely pissed off when Bungie left Microsoft. So when Halo 4 came out, a huge part of the base that buys the game was already ready to trash the game when it came down to it, because it was 343, it wasn't Bungie. If you spend some time with the Halo community, talking to all the people and stuff like that, you will see that there is that old school, always, I just roll with Bungie, that's it, 343 is absolute garbage. And then there's a part of the community that is willing to, say exactly what was good and what was bad about, Halo 4 and Halo 5. Now, when it comes down to it, Halo Infinite is success of Halo 2. All right, so it's not going to be like that, man. But I feel like 343 does realize what needs to be done here in terms of this game. I think they're going to keep the competitive multiplayer. I heard that they're keeping the Spartan abilities, which is good because Salty said they need to evolve. People want Halo to devolve back into no running and stuff like that. No grabbing and pulling your Spartan up on a ledge. None of that. They want it to devolve And Salty's right. They want to evolve.
Emotional attachment to the characters and more interest. It feels like, right, more of an appeal to this game. Really devaluing it. People, you know what I'm saying? I don't get that.
No,
can I just chime in here?
Go ahead, Nick. Let's go.
One of the things that is detrimental to Halo that a lot of people don't talk about. Yes, there's been stagnation since 343 took over the franchise, and this whole they can't nail both at the same time thing is, as a longtime fan of the franchise and was played competitive Halo, it's very frustrating to me that they can't put out a great campaign and a great multiplayer all at the same time.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. The pressure's on. You get what I'm coming from, yeah.
But the biggest thing of why Halo hit the same way it did is because people forget that the reason why Halo was such a big deal for Xbox is it was one of the first FPS on console. It was one of the FPS back when Halo hit the OG Xbox. That was like one of the only FPS games on a console. That was what was so impressive about it being there. It was graphically impressive. Gameplay felt fresh. It was at the top.
When it came down to it. I know exactly what you're talking about, bro.
Yeah, so, but the thing is now is that there's a lot more competition. And we've seen games take larger leaps forward from one game to the other within this same generation versus what Halo's done in the entire franchise history. You can even look at something like Doom 2016 versus Doom Eternal and what those two games and what they are compared to the originals. They could not have released Doom 2016 the same way they released Doom 3 almost, I think that's like 10 years before. They had to change how that game was. They had to change what the game was at its core, and it was amazing. And with Doom Eternal, it's not just the same thing. They're adding in new mechanics. They're adding in new weapons. They're adding in more enemies. They're doing all this stuff. They're actually putting a story into Doom, which there really hasn't been a story to Doom. Except for Doom 3, really. And there's all these big changes, and Doom 2016 came out in 2016, and Doom Eternal's coming out in 2020. Doom's had all this growth, and frankly, its FPS mechanics are above and beyond where Halo's at. And that's kind of where Halo Infinite really needs to come in. They need to do something in the FPS space that makes people pay attention, because frankly, they aren't the best of FPS games anymore. And that really shows. And I think that's why people have become disenfranchised with the Halo game series so much, is because there's just other games that do it better.
And that may be the case. And Nick, I think that may be an uphill battle they're going to have to fight. That being said, I do want to welcome Slow-Mo back. So, Slow-Mo, thank you so much for being here tonight, buddy. I know you had such a full schedule, so thanks for being here, buddy. I appreciate it. You're walking in right as we discuss the entire Halo and Xbox Series X reveal of the specs. Slow-Mo, how you doing tonight? And what's your take on what you heard from Monday? And I know you had quite an interesting week on Twitter.
Yeah, man. Like I said some things that may have hurt some people's feelings. Actually, a lot of people's feelings. But it is what it is. I hate to be the bucket of cold water sometimes, but when people start going a little too far in their enthusiasm, sometimes they need to be just brought down to earth so that their feelings don't get really hurt when performance and testing and benchmarks come out and it's just like it's not really what you thought it was or what people said it was going to be. It's good to have level expectations ahead of time, and that's all I was really saying.
Slow-Mo, you enjoyed every bit.
Of course I did. Of course I enjoyed every bit of it. I mean, like I was cackling to myself as people were just. You're just a pony, and I'm like, what? I'm a pony now? Okay. Like it's crazy. It was wild, man. I loved it.
Slow-Mo. I'm gonna welcome you to the club, my dude. Like, just look at this chat. Go watch the chat replay all of a sudden.
Go, yeah,
Or Twitter.
Salt's like,
Right.
do me a favor, just mute the show later and just watch the chat.
Just watch the chat, man.
So-
These guys are crying, man. I need to get them some tissue, dude.
Shout
But
out
That's a
to
lot of tissue.
shout out to
They
JD
set themselves
Gamer.
up. Remember, Sony's broke.
yeah.
Well, here,
I
hold
know.
on. Before we get into that bit, shout out to JD Gamer. He says, Halo Infinite has looked better every time I've seen it. It looked good at E3 2019, better at the 2019 VGA XSX reveal, and I can't wait till E3 2020. Phil Dominus will end that Xbox has no games narrative. JD, let me tell you something. That I'm actually, listen, whether you agree with JD just said or not, I like where he's going with that because, and I think that was the point you were trying to drive home, Slow-Mo. You were saying this on your tweets this week, is that it's not that you're not amped for the teraflops. You are. But here we are in 2020, right? And we mentioned this, Salt. You mentioned it as well at the beginning of the show. You had said, I don't necessarily understand why Microsoft can't wait for 2020 to end. And Sony's like, we still got 3-4 bangers coming out this year. So that's the thing. So I agree with JD in the fact that, yes, I do think that there will be a turn for the better for Xbox moving forward. But at the same time, I think to myself, they've got a lot to prove. And that's what Slow-Mo, tell me if I'm wrong. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you were sitting here saying, we're sitting here praising the teraflops and the CPUs and the hardware. But realistically, at the end of the day, when it's Friday and you're driving home and you can't wait to play a game, I've never, I don't care if we're even talking, and we're going to get into Ori in a second, but when March 11th comes, I'm not going to go, on the way home, I'm going to be like, I can't wait to go home and play Ori. I'm not going to say I can't wait to go home tap into my 6 teraflops.
Like that now, man.
Oh, dude, apparently that's damage control, by the way. If you talk about the games, which was crazy. Me and Forte found that out live. Apparently that's damage control.
That's right, man.
It's about the games.
Video flops over video games.
Exactly. It was ridiculous. We were all like,
it's crazy. Look, and here's the thing is that a lot of these guys that are really talking about it, and I'm not trying to call anyone out, but like they really don't even really know what they're talking about with this stuff. They're getting it from other people who have a vested interest in talking it up. So it's just like when you don't really know what you're saying, but then you're acting like teraflops is the end all to performance. I'm like, that's just not true. When you're trying to compare console where you don't even know all the specs to it yet to PCs knowing, it's just like, come on now, like stop doing this.
You know how many tweets I've seen from Xbox?
They don't want to think about that, Slow-Mo.
No, they don't, not at all. They just want to think it can be the 2080 Ti, and it's just like,
is this mic on? Hello.
All right, here you go. Ahead, Salt, go.
Holy
sorry,
shit!
My bad, Salt. Go ahead.
Now, you know how many tweets I've seen on social media from Xbox, extremists? They list off all the things they're excited for next generation, and guess what's not on that list? Games. 9 out of 10.
Really?
And I asked, I'll pull them up.
That's why I don't deal with extremists on either side, brother.
Variable rate shading, teraflops, HDMI, blah blah blah. They list it off, right? And it's like you ask them, "Hey, where's games on the list?" And guess how many responses I get? Crickets, dude. I mean, at the end of the day, like, can we get serious with this, folks? We're gamers. We play games. We don't. It's flippity flops, and you guys are man. I swear, you guys have boners every time we mention it.
You said Days Gone and Death Stranding.
I don't know.
Flops,
I don't know why
played those games. I guarantee.
Yo, when it comes down to it, I don't know why you're listening to extremists anyway. But when it comes down to it, that is an impressive, number for a GPU in a console. And one thing I absolutely loved is how Digital Foundry had to squirm in their seat and do a complete 180 about what they thought Series X was. So now they're like, oh man, they are on ray tracing. It might not just be the reflections and stuff. Like they had to do a complete 180 after they learned RDNA texture and 12T flops.
Yeah, they
raw graphical power.
About the power of the console is awesome, but are we going to be talking about that when the damn console releases?
Well, dude, I don't know. I already saw teasers for Everwild. I already saw, trailers for Halo Infinite. I saw Hellblade 2 teaser. I saw a teaser with Project Mara. So when it comes down to it, Xbox is not only giving more information about their console, but they have also given more information about games coming to that console as well.
Well, I think when you say
I'll say it
games,
like this.
go ahead, Slow-Mo.
I'll say it like
games.
this. Look, there are
Right, when you say, you hear me say, when you say games, but
the whole narrative that like there is Xbox doesn't have any games is false. Like it's false in 2020. There are games coming out, and now if people say those games don't appeal to me, that's fine. That's accurate. There are games coming out. You don't like those kind of games, cool. But to say Xbox has no games in 2020, that's just a falsehood. Me personally, I'm looking forward to 2 games that they're coming out with next month, Ori 2 and Bleeding Edge. I'll be playing those games, but at the same time, I do recognize that not everyone likes those games. That maybe those games do appeal to me. Wasteland 3 appeals to me because I like those kind of games, but not everyone's into that. Halo
you lost
Infinite,
me on Wasteland, brother. You lost me on Wasteland.
Look, I understand. Look, I'll play it.
But
I'll
dude,
enjoy
do you, bro?
too.
Do you? You know
But
what I'm
like,
saying?
You know, like, but when it comes to 2021, when it comes to Halo Infinite, like they gotta deliver there. They have to deliver. Halo Infinite needs to be better than Halo 4 and Halo Guardians. It needs to be. It has to be. If it isn't, 343 needs to hang it up. And someone else either needs to run with the Halo franchise in a different direction, or they just need to put Halo down for a little while and bank on another big IP. Hellblade 2, I'm looking forward to it. That ain't coming out no time soon.
no.
Like
No, early development.
they haven't even like Everwild. What is that? No one even knows what that is.
Sea of Thieves on land.
Bunch of deer with glowy antlers.
No, he's right. No one knows what it is, but it
prancing
looks
through the
cool.
forest with
It looks
like
cool.
Native
So you like that Honey I
Americans or
Shrunk the
something.
Kids game too, Xbox?
You know,
I will definitely give it a try. When it comes
Don't
down
get
to
Slow-Mo
it.
started on that one.
I'm
Oh,
not
God.
playing. I am not playing.
And the
Honey,
game's
I
called
Shrunk the
Grounded.
Negroes.
It's called Grounded, man. And you know, when it comes down to it, we didn't see a whole hell of a lot. So I wanna see what the
saw
game's
enough.
about.
We
And,
saw enough
and
for Honey I Shrunk the
when
Kids.
it comes
dude.
down to it, like
Very
I'm gonna be
important.
playing it on a certain subscription service as well. So the reason why I say that is if you are on the fence about it, or if you think like this part don't look that great, but you don't really know, at least there's a service out there where you can play the game. All right, instead of putting down the full money to play the
Yeah,
game.
but
then being
Xbox,
like,
we
you know, I
gotta
don't
stop.
like
We
it.
gotta stop with the
No,
Game
but see,
Pass
I'm
is a
saying
crux
that-
thing. We gotta stop with that.
I'm not using it. Hold on.
You just
See,
said
that's the
it.
thing.
It's okay. You don't want to
No,
spend 60,
no,
spend
Mooch,
99 cents and find out.
I am not. Well, I am. It's a crutch. The best figure out if you like a game is to what? Play the game.
Don't knock it till you try it.
Oh,
It's like,
all right. So,
Vegas.
with that being
Wait.
said, instead of
Addict, I got you in a
having to put
second.
down, instead of having to put down the full price for the game to play the game or whatnot, there's another option there where you can try the game out. If you don't like it, pass. There you go.
Let me say, and guys in the chat, I just want to say, I told you guys every hour on the hour, in this case, 40 minutes after the hour, we're going to have a special guest. Welcome, Gaming Addict. Addict, listen, you came in at the perfect time, man. This is
Who let
literally
this guy in here,
your
man?
cup of tea, Addict. It's
I'll
great to
make
have you
you a
back
deal,
on the
Mooch.
show.
I have
Addict,
fun here.
what do you
Oh,
think about what you're hearing right now? And we're kind of talking about what's going on with next generation and, you know, the whole Halo Infinite thing. What's going on with the T-flops versus the games? Where should we be? Where are you?
Well, first thing, I'll raise you when it comes to the Game Pass thing. Xbox can't use Game Pass as a net if you can't false narrative that it's $1, because it's not $1, Mooch. It's $10.
Well, listen,
calling in on
Addict,
a tin can or what?
Addict, it'll be $1 again once Ori comes out. They'll do a special on the weekend. Trust me. You know, listen, every time, and don't get me wrong, Addict. The part you missed was the beginning of the show. I actually don't think that's a bad thing. The reason it's $1 is not just the whole like the joke with the 99-cent thing. That forget that. They got to get this thing so we're addicted to Game Pass. They have to make it so that, and that was Gaming Forte's idea when the Series X comes out, is that they should put a year in the box, not a month. And I agree with them. You want to get people so that they always know they have 200 to
I think
250
you'll see it
games
3
available.
months. I think they'll have 3 months. I don't think it'll be a year, but I think they'll have 3 months.
3 months. And just so you guys know, by the way, Addict is calling in on his breaks at work. So Addict is working and he's still here. That's how diligent he is to be here. So I appreciate that. Well, we lost Addict. He's having a hard. He's coming in. He's bouncing in and out, but I want
Yeah,
Attic to be here. He's got so much information. I love having him on the show. Shout out to JD Gamer, who says Outer Worlds 2, Ori 2, Hellblade 2, Halo Infinite, Perfect Dark, Fable, Forza, Everwild, all wrapped up in a nice tray, 12 Terrified package. I love it. But JD, you don't understand. You said Outer Worlds 2, and then you said Hellblade 2, and then you said Perfect Dark, which we don't, and then you said, like, you might as well throw the Mooch and Crap Special Edition coming out. That's a great game that we got. Yeah, and Mooch and Crap got a game coming out next year. You guys don't realize it. 12 teraflops, Mooch. It's gonna be great. But I mean, you know, so JD, shout out to Basement Radio Arcade Podcast who stopped in. He went out to dinner tonight. That's why he couldn't make the show. He says, "Woo!" as you guys would imagine he would say if he was sitting here. But I mean, you know, JD, I'm with you on that. He says, "Mooch, let me in." Well, Basement Arcade Radio, get in the goddamn waiting room. I'll get you in here. Addict's back. Let me get Addict back in here. Addict, what were you saying? Because we lost you.
All right. Hold on, let me put it back to where it was. All right, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. So what was my train of thought?
You were saying basically you can't use the 99-cent thing, but I was saying it may be coming back soon, and then I was saying they want to use Xbox wants to use it as an addictive thing to get people roped into getting used to having 250 games in their library.
I think the reason that, you know, you see they have to use their first party whenever they're about to come up, because I think the whole point of what they're doing is it's not for now, it's for when that Series X comes out. And I think that's when they really have plans for Game Pass. I think right now is just they want to figure out how they want to run Game Pass, what price point they want to run Game Pass. Because when Game Pass first was a thing, I don't think, like, you know, Game Pass Ultimate was ever a thing. You know, that's something that they implied when they're like, okay, people are liking this. What else can we do with it? I think that their key focus is, you know, clearly they got their ass handed to them this generation. There's no denying that. And pretty much in terms of everything, price, games, you know, the only thing that Microsoft might have them on is services. But obviously, you know, with their new service, they're clearly competing there too. So, you know, their biggest thing is, you know, we want people to get on, because a lot of the time when it comes to services, it's not really who did it first, who did it last, who did it better.
Addict, here's the thing. And Addict, you do a great job on Twitter of really, you know, fighting the good fight. No pun intended. But I mean, what do you think about next? And Slow-Mo, I don't mean to keep going back to Slow-Mo, but he had such an interaction and such a presence on Twitter earlier this week. I mean, what he's saying is we've got to get back to the fact, and shout out to Enrique who's here as well. Enrique, we're going to get to you because I know you can't wait to comment on this as well. But we got to get back to the games, right, Addict? We got to, and people want to go back and say, Mooch, it's about 2013 when it was Power. It's not 2013 anymore.
But to see, that's the fans saying that narrative. That's not the company. The company's just announcing their next spec.
Absolutely.
Which they always do every generation.
Absolutely. No. This is not a bash on Microsoft. If you're going to put 12 teraflops into a box, you're definitely going to talk about it. So good on them.
I'll give you an example. You know, I would agree with you 100% if they would have just announced the Series X, and they're like, we ain't doing nothing after that. Fam, there you go. There's the console. They did. They're like, here's the console, here's Hellblade 2. So, you know, obviously games is important to them because they felt the need to keep a card they could have played for E3, and they played it with the Series X.
True. Shout out to Sovereign Cog Ito. He says, best looking and played games this gen is the 1.8 teraflop machine. So Sovereign makes a point there again where we got to go back and focus on games. Enrique, you're kind of coming in here last minute. Welcome to the show, buddy. We're right where you kind of wanted to land. We're talking about the whole thing that Slow-Mo was going through earlier in the week. It's impressive, right? It's impressive what we got in the 12 teraflops. But where are we as far as moving forward and the whole conversation with next generation consoles?
Well, you know, I said this earlier too, but I got a little heat for saying it.
Enrique, you're botting, buddy. You're botting, buddy.
A transformer.
You got to.
There's only one bot on this show, bro.
Enrique, you got to.
Enrique got that 1 teraflop in.
Enrique, reset your mic.
It's because the internet knows what some of the nonsense he's about to say, so they just silence him.
Addict, I miss you, buddy. I wish you didn't work Fridays. Shit.
But look, like in regards to like the stuff on Twitter earlier this week, like and just in general with this conversation, this is no one is saying that the Xbox Series X isn't impressive. It is definitely going to be and more likely it's probably more powerful than the PS5, but it definitely looks like it's going to be the most powerful console there ever has been. It's just that when people go too far is when they say it's going to be better than PC. Your PC's obsolete. Like, slow your roll.
Yeah.
Calm down. You don't
Especially
know
when
that.
there's no confirmation of the other one. That's sad.
Exactly. And then
I love that.
They're like, well,
I feel like the fact that there's no confirmation is confirmation enough. Though, if the PlayStation was stronger, I feel like it would have been announced right after the series.
Dude,
Yeah, but they've got two major releases. One may be Game of the Generation still, Addict.
Yeah, but when has Sony ever let this much time go by and they don't react to anything Microsoft?
But that's what I'm saying. And then, Addict, therein lies. I'm glad you brought that point up. I'm very glad. This is not 2030. This is not previous generations. This is the first time that your games and accessories move forward. This is the first time that Sony's got two major AAA exclusives coming out of their first-party games, and we're not there yet. They're not announcing
that the PS4 came out.
It did, but that was one game. You've got two games here. You've got Final Fantasy VII. You've got Neo 2. You've got Last of Us 2. You've got Ghost of Tsushima. That's 4 games. They don't want to lose. I don't believe they would want to lose PS4 sales.
Well, people.
Guys, am I still botting?
No, you're good now, Enrique.
Hey, he's here.
I think people.
Hey, you put some water on that mic. You fixed it.
I
got that Xbox Series S model right now.
Forte, go for it, Forte.
You might want to take it back to the store then. Look, I think this is what people
take it back like Forte taking GPUs back to Micro Center.
Yep, sure am. You're right about that. But I think people are missing the biggest point. People keep saying that it's not 2013 and all this other stuff, but there's also no attaboy. There's no attaboys. There's no Yoshida there. There's no Jack Trenton. There's no Sean Layton. There's no Andrew House there. This is a completely different Sony. So I don't know why people are expecting the same things from Sony when the people that are in charge aren't those
gone.
people. So that is the main reason.
Google Stadia.
Oh, you are your body again, sir. You might want to go turn your internet connection to 10.
I'd like a large extra pickle.
Now to close the porn site.
Did you just say I would like my stapler?
Yeah, for some reason that's not. It's not Enrique. For some reason the mic is just jamming up. Shout out to JD Gamer. He says PC dudes need to stop. The 12 teraflops in the XSX will outdo an RTX 2080 Super per your quotes for benchmarks. RDNA 1.0 equals 92.4% of RTX. Oh my God, JD, that's a math equation. It's Friday night. We're done working. Series X.
I'm still trying to figure out. Did Microsoft reveal any type of specs or CPU or any what is that graphics card running?
I love that dude's in denial. I see that on megahertz.
How many megahertz is that graphics card running at? How many compute cores does that graphics card have in it? I mean, all I know is 12 teraflops. I can tell you right now what my 1080 Ti is running. So
Sir X-Man says we have game streaming to Twitch and Mixer. If Sony doesn't have anything in the fall that is going to sell, the Xbox and the games coming out. And then Sin Vendetta, the great Sin Vendetta. Sin, I got to say this, guys. Stay tuned. I am giving away 3 months of Game Pass Ultimate tonight, okay? There you go. So to credit Addict, I got to get Addict back in here.
According to Mooch, that would be $3.
It's a $3 value.
$3 value.
That is correct. So shout out to Sin. He says, Mooch, the game of the generation is coming out in 2 weeks. Neo 2 is coming. Sin, I can't disagree with you. It's going to be great.
I can disagree with him.
Oh, Addict. You're so
I'm
good
not
at
a
that.
big fan of
Dude,
Neo.
I want to play
Yeah, so you played
Neo's good. Neo's good. Neo 2 might be good, but
I think Neo 2 will be better than the original, in my personal opinion.
I don't think Neo 2 is going to touch Shakira. So.
Nah.
Oh, absolutely not.
If you want to
can't they coexist?
Sekiro did win Game of the Year.
No, nothing can coexist. Xbox. I don't know if you've noticed that.
I keep hearing
about one platform about the other platform.
Dude, I keep hearing that on Twitter, and I'm like, can't you play one and the other? Like, it doesn't have to be one or the other. And I hear you, man. Unfortunately, people
shout out
seem
to
like it can't be that way.
Xbox, you know this gentleman as well. Shout out to Z Black Rider. Says y'all been shook
Z!
since Phil Spencer showed up to the VGAs and whipped out his Spencer. Outstanding.
Z Black Rider was watching that on Pornhub, dude. A different game awards, dude.
That would be the best place to promote that. You know, a lot of
watching a
gamers
different
in that
show.
damn website.
Yeah,
Let me ask
he's
you guys
watching
a
different
question
show.
here. I don't know if you guys have been doing this. I kind of want to get into it real quick. I got to talk about Ori for a second.
Yes.
And I love Ori. I can't wait for.
There's
I
gonna
cannot
be a
wait
butt
for
in
Will
this
the
statement
Wisp.
somewhere.
What you like? Yeah, you already know it's coming, gaming addict. I'm curious. I'm not going to give my opinion, addict. I'm actually going to let you guys take the helm here. I just was wondering. I've watched about 30 minutes now because we've got 45 minutes of previews that are out there that you can watch on various different YouTube channels that were allotted the time to play and kind of do a video on it. And here's my thing. What do we always say? Oh, it's another Gears, or oh, it's another Uncharted, or oh, it's another this, right? You can't say that because that's not fair to the developer. If you love the game, you love the game. I loved Ori, right? So I beat it, I loved it, etc. But do you guys think, here's my question to you guys, do you guys think that Ori and the Will of the Wisps will get dinged by reviewers because it looks like it's literally a couple of extra chapters from the first one added on?
Dude,
I'm
I
asking.
don't know about that. I think
I'm
it's way
asking.
better
I'm
than the
asking.
It
first
looks
one.
better.
Yeah.
It
Dude,
does. No,
when
wait.
they- hold
So
on.
wait, Forte.
When they-
It looks
when-
better, but is it more?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
I can
Is that
answer
story
this.
they've added boss battles. They've
Yeah.
added given Ori weapons.
There is
So
more
they
to
got-
the
they-
RPG
they got
element
changed
too,
swords and
right?
They
bows and
changed the
arrows.
fighting mechanics.
Yeah.
completely.
Okay.
They listened to feedback where people were complaining about the manual save points. Instead, they moved into a checkpoint system. So yeah, this game I think is going to be like a 93 on meta. I don't think anyone's really going to.
I
You
think
might
this
get
game
that
is going
one outlier where that one website really wants some attention, so they give it a 60.
What you talking
It's
about?
gonna get a
PlayStation
50.
Live? PlayStation Live gonna give it a
you're gonna
50.
get. I think you're gonna get a Cuphead effect on this game.
97 meta.
No, Enrique, get out of here. How many margaritas did you have? Get out of
97 is
here.
a little bit much. I'm thinking
I'll have
93,
what you're having,
92.
dude.
So I'll be
Not a
bold.
zero.
I'm going to be bold
92.
here. I want to say, what did the original get? Can somebody give me a confirmation on the original?
87 or something like that. 89.
89, I think.
89.
I think this one's going to do either the same or a little worse.
Why
After all you just heard, man, with,
I
with
don't
the
know.
changes?
No, Mooch, you got to explain to me why you think that.
I think it's gonna. I think even though you guys mentioned what you mentioned, I watched 40 minutes of it. I haven't played 40 minutes. I've watched, and I can't. I personally can't wait to dive back into it. I didn't say that's what I would give it. I said that's what I'm guessing.
It got an 88.
An 88. I mean, I could see us getting like an 86 or an 87. Here's my thing.
No way.
The things you guys are mentioning, they changed. If you just sit back on your couch and watch the 35, 40 minutes that everybody has right now on YouTube, I don't see much of what you guys are saying. It looks like Ori. It looks like just more of the same.
Statement. It's
Did
not
you
a
play the
bad
first
statement
one?
to say that. People don't mind games that are
I
are
agree,
the same
Addict.
as their predecessors.
I agree.
They mind when games aren't the same as their predecessors or they're worse.
I agree.
Hey,
But did you hear what Addict just said? Addict goes, Mooch, you can't blame something for being the same. People actually enjoy that. So how can we say if it's about the same that it's going to jump from an 87 to a 93?
If you watched Mario
because, like
Odyssey
I said,
from the
they made
outside,
improvements to the game,
But
and
the improvements are not necessarily clearly visual slow-mo.
a bow and arrow and sword attacks aren't clearly visual. I think they are.
So you're telling me where before he had a swipe, now a sword pops out. That's different.
I mean, we can say it like it's not that big a deal, but
It's
then
not.
I think
I think
when
it
I
depends.
saw it, I thought it changed.
I don't
the
think
way
they
the
put
game
enough.
plays.
I don't think they put enough information out there to really criticize that. To be honest with
I
you,
think we need to see how that sword or axe or whatever it is impacts
Right.
the overall gameplay
Right.
mechanics. I mean, if it impacts it negatively, it's going to get deducted. If it impacts it in a positive way,
I think it stays the same. I don't think it goes up.
I mean, nothing.
I mean, the fact that they added those mechanics, it can't stay the same. Something's different.
Yeah, I mean, like Alex, if the mechanics improve the overall experience, it's going to get a boost. I don't see how it wouldn't.
Yeah, I have seen nothing that would suggest that this game would do worse than the first game. And it's not like this is a long-running franchise where people would get.
Did you guys watch the IGNs and the VG 24/7s and all these guys? Have you guys watched those?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I watched them, and they have a huge butt in the middle, and they have a discrepancy. Like, it's a little bit, and like you guys may say that. All I'm saying is it wasn't glowing. It was not glowing.
I've literally seen IGN completely glow a review until the last 15 seconds, and then give one negative and give it like a 6 out of 10. So
I've listened. I've purposefully listened before I brought this up on the. Again, this is not my review. I'm saying to you, I think this thing is going to fare very close to its predecessor.
Okay,
so,
I'll ask
go ahead,
this
Saul.
Real quick.
Luke,
so when you're watching Days Gone, right?
Yes.
The outside looking in, did you get the impression of what you were feeling when you were playing it? Like how in depth it is?
No.
So I think that's kind of the same thing with like watching Ori being played.
But Saul, did you play Ori, the original one?
Yes, I did. Yeah,
Okay,
I did.
so so we both played it, so I can talk to you here face to face in this case.
Yeah.
So from what I saw, though, okay, and don't forget, you guys are saying bow and arrow. Remember, when you guys about a third through the first one, you got that ability to shoot out. So what I'm trying to say to you is, it didn't make me feel like it was any. Maybe I'm getting now. Here's one of the things I heard. The things that you're talking about that we got a third. Or halfway into the original. Now we're getting earlier in the game, but that doesn't make me feel like it's better.
So the thing is like I was going to say this before, like if you look at Mario Odyssey from the outside, you see him throwing a cap around. You're like, well, that's just a cap, right?
Right.
But once you get into it and you experience, you're like, wow, this changes the game completely.
That cap is money.
It's just like little things like that. Until you play the game, you can't really, know about it.
Guys, listen, and I don't want to lose this. I want to keep going on the story. I got there's 15 super chats. Carlos Crispin, right? They came all at once. Carlos Crispin says Sony has been in the industry for 25 years, and people still want to question whether they can compete. It's ridiculous. Carlos, I'm kind of with you there. We've got to give them the benefit of the doubt. They're also the market leader right now. Garrett,
Luke, that's a great point,
right? Garrett, a 180.
Even despite all the changes they've had, they still have Sony people that have stepped up into higher positions. I mean, like a lot of these people that have taken over aren't new to the game. They've been in Sony for a long time. Like it's not, and Sony has that look, they have those franchises. They have games they've been working on for decades. I mean, they can actually go back in their playbook now at a point where they can bring back games like Siphon Filter, SOCOM. They have the playbook. I mean, it's not by accident that they're the PlayStation console is the all-time best-selling console ever.
I do find it interesting, Enrique, you bring that up because a lot of times both camps do this, right? So we have SOCOM on one side. Everyone's like, bring back Perfect Dark on the other. I really think both these companies are done with all those titles. We've been asking for 8 years.
I don't want a Perfect Dark, man. Like
I don't either, to be honest with you.
Yo, I understand there are a lot of like the OG Xbox people want to those kind of like remade, but I don't want just all remakes from the OG Xbox era.
I want new and be ingenuitive, be like risque, do something that gets me excited to play a game again. Great 180 says Ghost of Tsushima will be trash. Nobody's going to buy it, and I do not have a release date. APB out for Sony. Where are you at? JD Gamer says Forte, stop it. None of the garbled spec dump means anything. The fact it is for the first time in a long time, consoles will be great. GPU to GPU XSX is greater than a 2080. JD, you're so into it. I love it. Sir X-Man says
he's going.
Oh, he's going for it today. Sir X-Man says, "Man, am I the
be hurt in a couple of months?" But yeah,
look, man, don't hype yourself up for disappointment.
That's true.
Don't save them. Let them jump in the pool. That's all I gotta say.
Sir X-Man says, "Man, am I the only one that wants Flight Simulator?" Yes. JD Gamer says the previews are so good. Or he will be great. 89 to 92. JD, maybe we'll see. And Lou Silver, great name, Why are the Ori, Cuphead, and Lucky Tail updates only exclusive to Switch? It makes the games run and look better. Not cool for Xbox fans. I completely agree. Thank you guys for all those super chats. But I want to get back to Ori here because I don't know if I'm explaining myself correctly, and I feel bad because you guys. I want to put this out there. I have to put a disclaimer out there. I'm a massive Ori fan. Like, you guys have no idea. Like, remember when I said to you, a game means something to me personally, and I think it means a lot to you when you're like, I'm going to take a day off. I'm taking a day off for Ori. I can't wait to play it. Right? It means a lot to me. So this is not a me problem. I'm just saying I've watched the quote-unquote people that will be involved in the Metacritic score, and they're all kind of like, well, it's nice. It's pretty. I like how they advance on the art. Yes, they added the shield, the sword. They've got the arrow. The RPG
they got boss battles.
They got the boss battles.
Boss battles are going to be huge.
But I agree with Addict. I agree with Addict. I think the boss battles are going to be negative in the Cuphead connotation. Do you guys see me on that at all? I agree with Addict.
It depends on how they're implemented. It depends on the execution. I mean, the boss battles could be like really well done and not exactly like mind crushing. Soul rendering, experiences where you're just banging your head against the wall for, 3 or 4 hours to complete it. I mean, some people like that, like the Dark Souls crowd love that. Not everyone, but I mean, it just depends on how it's implemented. I mean, like when I saw some of the a few moments of a boss battle, it looked pretty awesome to me. But I'm just saying is that there's not enough here that I've seen so far that would tell me that this would get less than what it got before. And I will even go as far as saying, if this was a Sony exclusive, nobody will be talking about it getting less than 88.
Facts.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a higher Metacritic than Halo Infinite.
Yeah. Oh, that's a given. That's a freaking given. I would give Moon Studios Halo if I could.
Oh, wow.
I would say like 343 engendered zero confidence in me. So yeah,
I give 343 Super Lucky's Tails.
Oh, Enrique. So wait, guys. Let's kind of discuss this real quick. So
I'm joking, by the way.
General consensus. So Salt, you said that Ori, the original Ori, got an 80. Was it an 87 or
88?
88. Okay.
Yep.
So I don't want a number because I'm gonna agree, I'm gonna go with Slow Mo and say we haven't seen enough. I agree with Slow Mo. So BitCloud, above or below 88, the new Ori?
I'd be a little hopeful because
hold. You can hold at 88 as well.
No. I mean, I'd be a little hopeful because that is like one of the best games they got coming out. I'll say above 88.
Okay, Enrique, above or below or hold?
I'm gonna say above.
Yeah.
Okay, Forte.
Above.
Salt.
Above, man.
Slow Mo.
Above.
Undead. Nick.
Above.
Xbot.
Meta who?
Great answer.
What are we talking about here, man? It's gonna be a great game, yo.
What the hell? We gotta talk about
it. I'm not giving Metacritic any attention.
PTSD. Bro. Metacritic gives bot PTSD. So
it does.
Oh.
Xbot, I want you to just say. I'm not even asking for a number. I just said above, hold, or below.
All right. Yo, for you, Mooch, just for you.
You said above?
Okay? Above.
Okay, I'm gonna do a hold. I'm gonna say an 88. I'm for some reason, I needed to see more than a boss battle where I was bouncing back and forth before, and now I'm going to be bouncing back and forth in a closed room. It doesn't seem like enough to me. I don't see this thing taking it to the next level where it's more than what we got before. And a lot of people are saying that where we found the difficult. And Salt, I know you like a good challenge. I like a hard game. My point is I've heard that they've made this game not as hard, and that may also come into maybe it'll make it. Maybe that will make it better.
Mooch. The reason why it was so difficult when you first started, you didn't have your finding that. So they purposely made Ori kind of like weak, a little more timid and stuff like that at the beginning of the game,
right,
which did make it harder. But once you got all your powers and you got used to them, you started flying through those areas like nothing anyway,
absolutely.
man.
Shout out to Z Black Rider. He goes, Ori will be too hard for you, Mooch. I beat the first one. What do you want me to do, Z Black Rider? I can't do more than that. I
want to know if anybody here beat the game without dying to get the achievement.
No way.
That's insane.
It clearly wasn't me.
I literally only know.
How about chat, yo? Anybody in the chat, if you beat Ori without dying, let us know in the chat.
The real measure is, did you beat Cuphead? That is very low for the amount of people that actually beat that.
I'm still working on it, bro.
I was gonna say
crickets.
I got the achievement.
What'd you get, Nick?
On Cuphead, so I'm good.
Nick, what'd you say?
I said I got the achievement for beating King Dice and the Devil on no hit, so I'm on
my man.
Wow, Nick. I got to be honest with you. It is an absolute privilege to have Nick here. You guys have no idea.
If you didn't appreciate it before, you definitely appreciate it now.
Yo, guys, listen. It's been well over 2 hours, guys. I got to say, what a phenomenal chat. This show just grew. It got better and better and better as the minutes went by. I can't say thank you enough to everybody that's here. I was waiting for that.
Oh, wow. Who's that?
I was waiting for that.
That was me.
Of course. Salt.
Salty's pull-out game is not as strong as Cody's.
Why do we always go back to the pull-out game? Oh, what a great panel. I love having you guys here. Guys, let me say this much. Thank you so much to everybody in the chat. Thank you to the Super Chat. Thank you to the great Wilmy Hood. I can't thank you enough. You helped me get a Series X. Thank you so much. Guys, I want to say, please do look above the description. There's the join button there. It means the world to the Mooch to become a member of the channel, always be a part of the show. I want to go. I don't even know how to go in reverse order here, but I'm going to start where I can, right? I'm going to go with Enrique. Woo! Bro! Enrique, thanks for being here tonight, buddy. I know you were out with the family. You even came back and showed up. That just shows how dedicated not only you are to podcasting, but to gaming in general. Thank you for being here, Enrique, and let people know where they can find you.
Absolutely, man. It was a pleasure. And you could find me at the Basement Radio Arcade Podcast live every Wednesday nights on the YouTubes. And if you want to give me a follow on the Twitters, you can follow me at BRAP_podcast. Definitely check us out. It's me, Gaming Forte, Slow-Mo Backslap, Eric Jackson, and B Money.
Great show, guys. You guys always put on an outstanding show. Thank you, Enrique.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely, man.
Absolutely. And then I've got my buddy here, Slow-Mo Backslap. Slow-Mo, again, also had family things to take care of. Dedicated father, taking care of his family. And what does he do? He stops in and sees what's going on in CrossFire. Slow-Mo, thanks for being here tonight, buddy. I appreciate it. And by the way, outstanding videos again on your channel. Please let people know how they can find you, because I'm telling you, you do things that other people don't do. You actually talk about video games. Thank you, Slow-Mo, and let people know where they can find you, buddy.
Oh yeah, and look, that I really appreciate all the praise. It kind of made me feel a little warm inside. Just a
They're
little
great.
Bit, like my dead heart actually woke up for a moment. It was great. But yeah, I really wish I could have been here.
Yeah, I taught you well, Slow-Mo. I taught you well.
Here we go, yo, Big Cloud and Forte with y'all crazy. Yeah. Check out my
They grow up so fast.
Oh my god! Check out my YouTube channel. I do videos about games. Doesn't matter the platform. I actually got one coming out tomorrow about a game that's going to be on all platforms coming out this year, and it's essentially kind of like a mix of Titanfall and Dishonored. It's a pretty cool game. I think it's called Blade Runner. I got something Runner. It's the I gotta get the title right. I know, but regardless, the video will be out tomorrow. But yeah, like I love to focus in on new games coming out. Love to focus in on like up and coming developers and their process and how they develop games and stuff like that. So I want to be different than everyone else. I'm not going to talk about teraflops and console war bull. So it is what it is. If that's what you want in your YouTube channel, hit me up. So
that's probably why it's so refreshing to me, Slow-Mo. It's just nice to just listen to something. And it's funny because you hit such an array of different games and topics that I'm sitting there and I'm scrolling through on my phone and I'm like, shit, that's something I actually wanted to know about. And you actually hit that topic. A lot of people pass by it. So thank you for that, Slow-Mo. I appreciate it. Guys, do check out his Twitter and YouTube. And then I've got my buddy here, BitCloud Gaming. And Bit, it's great because I love having you on the show. I really do. But your show is just before this show. You know what I mean? It's great. Yeah. It's absolutely fantastic. But Bit, let everybody know where they can find you. And thank you so much for doing this show right after you did an exhausting 2 hours yourself.
Yo, I appreciate it. It's always fun to talk gaming. I do appreciate the invite. Shout out to everybody in the chat. You guys find me BitCloud Gaming, YouTube, Twitter, all that jazz. If you guys are interested, definitely go hit that subscribe button. We just crossed 6K subscribers, so I'm happy. So it's been an awesome night. Appreciate everybody again, and see you guys later. And also, about to get Mooch for another one-on-one, maybe next week.
Yeah, buddy, just say when, man. We'll do it up. Absolutely, man. I got a lot on my mind.
I just want to say, even though BitCloud is the biggest fraud on this panel, that his channel is good. He does have a great channel. He has great one-on-ones, and he gets some really good industry guests in. So he does a good job bringing those in, even though he don't play no games. But yeah,
wow, don't let him do that to you, man. Don't let
my son
take
take shots. Look at my son.
Hey,
wow,
stop that now.
Wow.
And Luca, I swear.
So that means you and Luca are an item?
Oh, look! I ain't touching that. Luca, everybody up in here. Let me.
It's been documented that Luca has more kids than Miss Williams. It's been documented.
Oh shit! Goddamn.
It's been documented.
I'm definitely not gonna touch that one.
Before Luca comes after all of you, I better end the show quick. Listen, I got news for you. Real quick, let me say.
Seats.
No shit, right? Shout out again, and let me say to Undead Nick. Nick, honestly. I love hanging out with you, buddy, and I love your pieces. I love what you're doing. I like how you're expanding on YouTube. Just keep doing what you're doing. Don't stop, and hopefully, if I'm lucky, you'll be back on the show real soon. So, Nick, let people know where they can find you.
Well, people can follow me on Twitter at Undead3VI if you want terrible gaming takes and information. That's the best way to get it. I am going to be doubling down on space once I get rid of whatever this disease is that's been killing my throat for the past week. And yeah, you can find all my stuff there at the Gaming Perspective YouTube. I've got measly little 25 subs going there, so yeah. And you can find all my writing at lordsofgaming.net. And if you don't like anything I say here, you can take issue with me at E3 2020 because I'll be there. So see you.
Oh wow, Nick, that's great. Outstanding, buddy. I wish I lived closer to California. I just don't. That's a me problem.
I had to get the sled dogs.
I was just gonna say, buddy. I don't know. I'm trying to go as somebody's camera person. I'm trying to mooch my way over there. But nonetheless, let's get over to Salty. Salt, honestly, awesome to have you here. And the thing that's great about Salt's channel and what Salt does is, Salt, you're the same way I kind of feel. I think you have to have great conversation. I think you got to spark some interest. And that's what you do. You do it so well. You do it on Twitter. You do it on YouTube. Let everybody know where they can find you, and I can't wait till you're back on the show.
Yeah, last night's episode was awesome. We had Benji Sells on, industry analyst. It was awesome. Check that out. Saltiest Gaming, 2 words. Twitter, Saltiest Gaming, the eyes of ones, because some Yahoo took my real name on Twitter. I'm still salty about that. But twitch.tv/saltiest gaming. Try to build that up. Yeah, it was fun.
Appreciate it, Salt. And guys, I have the Ultimate Game Pass code coming up. So those of you, I know a lot of you can't wait to leave the room, but guess what? Someone's going to get lucky. Someone's getting lucky at the end of this. I'll tell you right now.
Want that code, people.
All right? So let's be honest here. Let me go. Also, then I've got my buddy here, Gaming Forte. Forte, it is always absolutely amazing to have you on the show, dude. I can't tell you enough. I write to you every Friday. I go, buddy, you're still good for tonight? He goes, you bet your ass I'll be there. Forte, fantastic. Thanks for your insight. And do me a favor, make sure you're back next Friday and let people know where they can find you.
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. Great show as always. And like everybody keeps saying to each other, dude, subscribe to all these dudes' channels. I mean, if you like their content, definitely go over and check it out because they all do very good work and they all have different points of view that a lot of people don't really agree with until they actually get a chance to just see what their content is all about. So check it out before you actually, pass judgment on anything that you hear from other people. Outside of that, it's Gaming Forte on YouTube, gaming_4K on 4K. Jesus Christ. Forte on Twitter. You know what? Maybe one day if Xbox can hit consistent 4K, maybe I will for a week put 4K, nautical 4K or something up there. I don't know. But other than that, Enrique already talked about Brap. Scumcast is coming up tomorrow. We'll be on there. My boy Slow-Mo, I hope he's there. He's not running and ducking. Other than that, Primetime Gaming on Monday nights with Boom. And I will see you guys on someone's show. Check out the video I just launched talking about the Xbox Series S specs. So if you want to hear more about that, check out the video I just dropped on Twitter.
You're the man, Forte. You already know that. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And then last but certainly not least, he's got a big show on Saturday like usual. He's saying it's the best looking podcast. I think it's the second best looking podcast because I'm biased. Xbot 448. Naturally. Xbot, it's always amazing and great and just positive vibes. Great to have you on the show, buddy. Let people know where they can find you.
Well, brother, first off, I'll say I absolutely appreciated the Halo. I think I opened Forte's eyes. Comes to my opinion of Halo, that makes this show absolutely priceless. Everybody needs to hit that just for that conversation right there. Now, unfortunately, next not going live tomorrow. Fortunately, I have a date night with the lady, but Sunday night, thinking more like 5 o'clock or so, going live with next podcast. So it's going to be at a different time.
Okay.
It's going to be at a different. We're still going to have the same energy, and it's still going to be the best looking podcast in this community. Thank you very much, man.
Awesome, Xbot.
Hopefully it'll be a better sounding podcast than Xbot with this mic right now.
No, for some reason it's going
like Forte.
It's going in and out a little bit, Xbot. I apologize. There's nothing we can do. I don't know.
Hold on. Maybe I can fix it. One word. Ready?
Well, here it comes.
Battletoads.
Fix it.
It actually made it worse.
So here it is, guys. I want to say thank you to the great Sin Vendetta. Sin Vendetta has given me a code. I have it in my possession of 3 months of Ultimate Game Pass, which means if you don't have it right now, you get to play Ori and the Will of the Wisps for free. So this is the case, guys. Here's the thing. And I thought this was fantastic. This is for all of you that have stuck through all the way to the end.
Free.
How many, including Mooch, how many panel members were on the show tonight, including the Mooch? So, guys, I have the number. The first person that types it in the chat gets the code, and we'll talk on Twitter. So let's let those guys go ahead and do that. And I got to say, Xbot, I'm glad you're having your show on Sunday while everybody gets the 15 to 20 second delay to figure out the question of the night. Right? You like that? But no. So Sunday night we'll be doing next podcast 5 p.m.
About 5 p.m. Like I've been talking to the panel to see like what would be good for everybody to kind of like come in and 5 p.m. An improvement to my gameplay because oh snap, it's Mel to buy me the Elgato 4K 60. So that's where I'll be grabbing my gameplay footage from.
I have to upgrade mine.
Did you upgrade that motherboard?
Actually, what I did was I took her PC entirely.
Oh shit!
Well, no, yo, shout out. I don't know if she wants me to say who or if they want me to say who, but
she tweeted it out.
She already tweeted it out.
Okay, yo, and because when it came down to it, his household was having issues when it came to our stuff like that, and he hooked her up with a new gaming PC. We went over to Best Buy in our area, and it was there waiting for us. So with that being said, she got her new PC with the rainbow LEDs. Really, really nice system. Got a 2070 GTX 2070.
So wait, did he get? I was under the assumption that he got her the lights. Did he get her the PC?
Look, you hear the quietness right there?
What happened? I didn't hear you. No, your mic went out.
No, the PC.
Whoa! That changes everything. We're talking about the lights all day on Twitter. I'm thinking he got her the fan lights.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. The whole thing, man.
Well, that changes everything.
She's got the same PC as I do. Exactly.
Yeah, I said that when he mentioned the parts. I said I don't know what Enrique's full specs are, but I said they're very close to Enrique's.
Yeah, it's the same brand, same setup. Like the RGB lights are the same. RTX 2070. Yeah. She might have the better CPU.
Was it Van?
Yeah, it was Butcher Van.
Dear Van, it's at Mooch1978. Hashtag mooching.
Yo, Enrique, she has the Ryzen 7 3500.
It's a beautiful thing.
That's a better CPU than
it's a better CPU. I got 2700X.
Dude, she's pimping out the CPU over you, Enrique. What's going on here, bro?
PC Master Race is contagious.
Yeah, it's a nice rig, man. That's awesome. I saw a picture. It looks awesome.
Captain Crush, very funny in the chat. Guys, I want to say this. Shout out and congratulations to iDizzy81, who, you know what? Shout out to iDizzy. iDizzy does so much for the community. Great guy. He's going through a lot. iDizzy, so glad that you could win it. The answer was 9, by the way. We had 9 people on the show tonight. In and out, popping in and out. It was great. Fantastic. So, iDizzy, I will shoot you the code. Just give me a few moments after I wrap up the show, and I will send it to you in your DM. We already follow each other. That makes it easier. It certainly does. And shout out again and thank you to Sin Vendetta. Let me tell you guys something real quick. Sin Vendetta is a big Mooch Maniac. He's been with me since very early on in my YouTube career, and Sin has been a very, very big contributor to this channel and a very good friend of mine. We game a lot. We talk a lot. So shout out to Sin. Thanks for that code. And thanks for contributing to the channel. Guys, we're going to be back next Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I will be doing multiplayer streams this weekend on The Last of Us Factions. Can't wait. We're going to get a bunch of Mooch Maniacs in there playing with me. It's going to be a lot of fun on Twitch. And we'll just keep going from there. Check it out on @Mooch1978. We got Xbox I've been promoting this whole time on Twitter. It locked on me. My bad. But congratulations to you. That being said, we're going to go ahead and do this again next week. Guys, thank you. Thanks to the panel. Thanks to the chat. Good night, everybody. Enjoy your Friday, your weekend. We'll do it again next week. Peace.